6 o'clock, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. For the first time since 1999, the New York Knicks are Eastern Conference champions and headed to the NBA Finals. The Knicks won their 11th straight game of the playoffs and completed the 4-0 series sweep over the Cavaliers Monday night, winning 130-93. Karl Anthony Towns had 19 points, 14 rebounds in the win to lead the Knicks, who now await the Western Conference winner of the Spurs and Thunder. Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City with the series tied up at 2-2. Tip-off tonight is at 7:30. In the NHL Conference Finals, the Hurricanes won their second straight game in overtime over the Canadiens 3-2 and take a 2-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. But tonight, the Western Conference Finals, Game 4. The Golden Knights are looking to complete the 4-0 sweep over the Avalanche, who could be without top forward Nathan MacKinnon due to a knee injury. Puck drop tonight in Vegas at 8 o'clock. And Nashville SC remained atop MLS standings with 33 points after a 2-1 victory over NYCFC Saturday night at Geodis Park. Nashville extended their MLS unbeaten streak to 8 matches and stay unbeaten at Geodis Park. The MLS will now pause for the World Cup break before MLS play picks back up in July. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running, back in studio on Ramon and Will. Good morning. Welcome in on a rainy Tuesday morning that feels a lot like a Monday. The number is 615-737-1045. You stream us live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Greg Sankey says SEC meetings are overhyped. We'll be the judge of that. Talk about a number of topics that he spoke about yesterday at the beginning of festivities in the SEC's official vacation spot, Sandestin. Austin Price of AllQuest joins us at 7:20. Where does Cam Ward need to improve the most heading into year 2? We'll talk about that in hour 3. And James Boyd of The Athletic, who covers the Indianapolis Colts, joins us at 9:20. This morning with Titans radio analyst and 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling on Tuesday, May the 26th. Good morning. How was everyone's Memorial Day?
Man, it was a good weekend, man. My brother Renardo came into town. It was fun seeing him. We went to a cigar lounge, had some good friends pull up on us, man. There's a new one off the highway over in Wedgwood that's very, very nice. I know a lot of people are still sleeping this morning, so I'm not giving up my spot. But the place and location will... good drinks, man. The cigar selection is pretty elite, and the way the setup is, they got an indoor-outdoor. So we went there on Saturday night, and it was a real good time. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Or it's Friday night. Either way, it was a real good time, man. The weekend just kind of blended. We cooked out. Man, I did a brisket. Didn't mess it up because it was tender as ever, but I wish my smoke ring was a little bit deeper. Like it was.
What would you have done differently?
I did it on a Traeger. Next time I might actually try it on my green egg. It just tempering the green egg is just, you got to start it super low. Yeah. It's so delicate. But if I do it again on the Traeger, I'm going to hit it with the super smoke. They got an option if you burn below, I think, like 225, which I did. I started at 215 overnight. It went for like 18 hours. It was super tender. It was amazing, man. But I wish my smoke ring was just a little bit thicker. I got to figure the brisket out. I did not mess it up. Flavor was awesome. The bark was amazing. I just didn't have a thick of a smoke ring as I would have wanted. Okay. But other than that, it was good. And I will tell you this, too. I'm so appreciative of this weekend. Like, not the time off. None of the, celebrating Memorial Day was awesome. I'm thankful because we got just rain this weekend. No storms. No tornadoes, no high rate of wind. We got just rain this weekend, and no flooding, none of that. I'm so appreciative. I had baseball this weekend, still got the games in. I was super appreciative for just rain, and my yard needed it too, by the way.
It's a good thing.
It was awesome. When was the last time we had just rain? We don't get that without, straight line winds, tornado warnings, and thunderstorms on top of it.
It's fair. Justin, how's your weekend?
It was good. We enjoyed a lot of the little things this weekend, which we don't really get to do anymore as we're now, as of yesterday, 1 month until due date. So we're enjoying the little things. We're trying to get some rest and relaxation as much as we possibly can before it does not come any longer. He is kicking and just dancing. He's just dancing in the belly. So we've kind of just enjoyed our nights lately, just watching him just kind of dance around in her stomach because it looks like a little alien that's popping out right now. So it's kind of fun just to watch that, send some videos to the parents as they don't get to watch that or whatever. So that's kind of what we did a lot. Enjoyed the rain because, like you said, we don't really get a lot of just rain. So we just kind of enjoyed that a little bit. It was kind of a nice, relaxed, full weekend. What about you?
That's good stuff,
Good.
man.
I went to a wedding, got back last night. Feels like a Monday.
You went to a New Jersey wedding, too.
Maryland.
Oh, Maryland, I thought it was New York, New Jersey. Okay, Maryland.
I didn't realize how close I was to New Jersey while I was there. But yes, I ate only seafood over the weekend and explored a little town on the Susquehanna River.
Did you get some blue crab?
I don't know.
Is blue crab
I don't
the
think
soft
so.
one?
I got a pasta that had had shrimp and crab in it.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I would hate if anybody had a seafood allergy, man. Goodness gracious, that sounds awesome.
I know. I'm with you.
Yeah, that sounds
Big
awesome. Hawk, I was going to say about the baby thing, though, too. Like, I enjoy watching the stomach roll, but it does look like an alien, like rolling over in
crazy.
the tummy. It is by far one of the weirdest things and the most beautiful at the same time. By the way, when you're under a month, you're on the clock every day at this point, Hawk, by the way. You are officially on the clock. I cannot wait.
But no pressure.
No pressure at all. None for him. Yeah. Literally none for him. For your beautiful wife, man. Good luck.
Yeah, we got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. It's his final ultrasound, kind of like a measurements, and it's kind of like almost like a virtual weigh-in because you can't actually weigh him, but they got to measure him to see like how you're tracking, whatever. Right now, she's on point for June 25th.
Okay.
So it could come a little bit late, she says.
Virtual weigh-in, you just got to put your fists up like y'all are getting ready for a fight.
Exactly.
Like, here we go.
Every time that we do an ultrasound, that's exactly what he does, too. He puts his fists up. He puts his fists up right in front of his hands. Like
he's a boxer.
Exactly.
There you go. If he's kicking, maybe he's MMA.
Maybe he's
UFC
a
fighter.
Look, Conor McGregor out here.
That's right.
Little T-Hawk mess around and be his stage name for real.
Hey, soccer runs in the family, so we all use our feet.
There you go. There it is. There it is. But the weekend was solid, man. I ran into a few folks over the weekend. Like I said, at the Cigar Lounge. Baseball was solid. Got rained on for the most part. Kid pitched really well this weekend too. His season, my oldest, is about to jump off, and my freshman, my young boy Miles, his is too. The Foster household's about to be in and out for the next month and a half. Just everybody got something every single day, which is cool. Summers really aren't summers off anymore, man. The wife and I have yet to still take any type of time to ourselves, which people try to say, you got to force yourself into it. I'm like, where's the time?
Yeah, exactly.
When is the time, man? But I'm super excited for this upcoming summer for the family, though, man. But this weekend was solid.
Well, you've got a great event to kick off the summer for you in 2.5 weeks.
We are. I remember when you said we're like 50 days away.
I know. I remember saying 100 days away.
I remember...
Getting married in 2.5 weeks. So we'll just throw everyone that is around here that is friends with me a summer kickoff party.
I'm going to go get a suit for it, too, by the way.
Oh, okay.
You told me the dress.
I did, too.
You did? Well, I'm going to make sure mine is real simple and plain, okay? I cannot. But I need a black suit in general. I have a few at the house. So I'm like, okay, those are a little older in age. I hate fashion, by the way. I used to love it. I hate it.
I don't know all the rules. Like, I just, we show up in shorts and collared shirts or T-shirts or hoodies so much for work. And you worked in shoulder pads and a football helmet for so long that.
Athletic gear every day.
When I went to get this suit, I wore it over the weekend of this wedding I was going to. And then I realized, like, the pants were, like, a little too short. But I was like, but then again, there's not really a right or wrong answer because there are people that wear very short, like capri, almost like suit pants with no socks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Mine are like you could see like an inch or like a half inch of my socks over the shoes. And for me, I'm like, dang it, these are way too short. But then in reality, that's probably normal.
It is. It is.
Anyway, yes, no, I feel you. I don't know what all the rules are. Like, I don't know what I can and can't do.
Yeah, me either. And like for a suit, I'm just going like regular taper over the shoe and just real chill. And black. That's it. That's all I want, man. But I need one that's nice because, I mean, you never know what type of event you have. I had somebody tell me before you should always have a tuxedo in your wardrobe. I'm like, I'll just rent
Did this person also play in the NFL?
This person was a clothier. Okay,
no. I have never once needed a tuxedo for something that I couldn't just rent.
Yeah, and it was like
for $50 or whatever.
You know when this happened? This was my last year. No, this is actually right after I retired, and he was just like, "Hey, I want to make some more suits." So I was like, "I'm not in that business anymore, sir."
Right.
And by the way, I hadn't worn suits in friggin' forever before that moment. And he was like, "Yeah, everybody should have like a tuxedo in the wardrobe," and I'm like, "Will not be getting that extra money out of me."
Define everyone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not everybody go to balls every other month. You know what I'm saying? If you do, that sounds like an awesome life for yourself. But no, but I got to go get a suit because you told me, because when it comes down to instructions that I give to my wife about where we're going, I'm the worst. Are y'all like that too? No.
Oh, 100%.
What is the dress code?
100%.
And me, I'm a jeans and button-up shirt type of guy. We can fit in anywhere with that, khakis or jeans and a button-up.
At this point, Peyton will just tell me. She does not rely on me to tell her details of anything that we're going to. Like even things that my own family is doing. I will ask her for the details, and she will know more about something my family is doing than I will.
Same.
Yeah.
So I told her.
No one's ever had an original experience.
I asked you last week, I said, what's the dress code? You know, I don't want to be just super chill, and I figured it was going to be nice. And you told me what your suit was. You was like, well, just, what was it? Just formal?
Yeah, it's just formal attire. It's not it's not black tie.
Yeah, it's not
but it's also not like business casual.
Exactly. So you said long dresses maybe for the ladies and stuff. So I told Keisha, so Keisha's got like 3 weeks to find something, and I got to make sure I go get fitted for a suit regardless. But yeah, I had to make sure I was right on that because I can't mess this wedding up for you, man.
I'm not worried about you messing it up.
I just got to trust myself to come in a proper attire.
My biggest concern right now, I'm not worried about you. My biggest concern is we are in a portion of it writing our own vows. And the concern I have, and we talk for a living, and people who listen to the show know I talk too much for a living. And my worry is getting all of that out without just bursting into tears. So you're going to cry. That's the concern at this point. Oh, I'm fully aware. Fully aware.
You definitely gonna shed a tear, which is
not a problem for today.
It's awesome. No, not a problem for today. My issue would be too many words. My thoughts go everywhere when I start to write.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah,
that's very. I've started writing it in my head, but not on paper yet.
I would tell
we'll see how long that takes.
The moment that you feel like you should stop, you should. Like if you feel like I need to add this, probably don't.
Okay.
I didn't do mine, but like in writing speeches and stuff, like. The moment that you just linger on, there's going to be somebody in the back. Wrap it up.
Fair.
That might be me.
For mine started to turn into like sort of an essay, so I had to scale it back. So I cut it in half. It ended up being like a little bit, 3/4 of a page, I guess. But it was like, it started to be very long. Because
like what time-wise, how long?
Time-wise? It was probably like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Ooh. So my aim is 2 minutes.
4 minutes?
Aiming for 2.
It was a little long. So and that was cutting it back, too.
I'm aiming for 2, knowing I'll probably get 3.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with 3 minutes.
Like, as long as you get one story that is special to you guys in there, that's like the main thing.
That makes sense.
And then you put some sentimental notes in there, but you get your one story that you want to share with her. That's the main thing. That's what I learned from mine.
That's what the longer stuff is for the rehearsal dinner anyway. Exactly. That's what we're doing all of our actual speeches.
Yeah.
There it is.
We'll see.
Yeah, you're right. Like 4 minutes, I bet you were tired reading, man. Golly, that's a long time, Hawk.
Well, all of our listeners, y'all get ready to hear probably way too much about all of this over the next 2.5 weeks. We did talk about at one point, like the week of the wedding, opening up the phones for y'all to give me marriage advice, but I don't know if we're going to do that or not. We'll find out. No. I've got a lot of friends, too, that want to just come hang out in the studio like the day before the wedding. So we may have a lot of a studio audience coming up over the next few months.
I'm here for it. Bring
as
it
people come in town. Yeah, they all want to meet. Well, they all feel like they know you already.
Bring it. I can't wait to meet White Rob. I'd have met White Rob.
You already have.
Before.
Yeah, you've hung out with
I want to see White Rob come in here.
Named him White Rob.
Yeah,
so much.
I got a Black Rob friend. You got White Rob.
That's going to stick.
It works.
That is absolutely going to stick.
Where's Broccoli Rob?
Also the type that when he walks outside, he gets sunburned. So that it makes more sense than you know. Makes more sense than you know.
As long as he's not offended, we're good. My brother Renardo got a nickname this weekend, too. One of our homeboys is called Renardo because he's a night owl. They call him Nighttime. Nighttime Nardo.
Okay.
That's his new nickname is Nighttime.
A lot of talk about shades. A lot of talk about shades of colors. 615-737-1045. We are live for the 1045 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book, can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. Greg Sankey says SEC spring meetings are overhyped this week. We'll tell you why coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Put League Company on your team and stay ahead of the game with home maintenance, repairs, and more. For as little as $14 a month, become a League Company Plus member and receive 4 annual visits to your home for your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical systems. Even better, League Company Plus members receive 20% off on all repairs and enjoy priority service. You can learn more online at leaguecompany.com/plus. Platinum Home Protection starts with a League Company Plus membership, and as unpredictable as Mother Nature can be here around Middle Tennessee, you want to make sure you are ahead of the game for that next heat wave, that blast of cool air. Make sure everything's working the way that it's supposed to around the house. You can get all of that for just $14 a month and get that 20% off on all repairs and get priority service for the pros at League Company. Learn more about League Company Plus online at leaguecompany.com/plus. That's League Company, all you need. So Greg Sankey says that if you can overhype a spring meeting, that has successfully happened. As Ramon Will continues here at hour number 1, 615-737-1045, says to tamp down expectations to reporters yesterday in a 15-minute press conference at the SEC spring meetings, where the future of the college football playoff is going to be a big topic of discussion. But Ramon, there is not expected to be any change made to the college football playoff this week. Have we overhyped spring meetings, or is Greg Sankey being unrealistic about what our expectations should be?
Greg Sankey, in my opinion, he can't do this. He can't say the SEC and the Big Ten are the two big bad machos on top of the hill and just act like he's a normal guy. No, he can't absolutely do that at all. This is like LeBron James not making a spectacle of his last dance that he's about to have. Like, no, y'all, I just want to go to all the stadiums and just enjoy myself and just walk out with no praise, no applause, no anything. No, Greg, you can't do this. You've been in a position where you've built up this conference. You've made yourself a personality. You mentioned the name Greg Sankey in sports, and people know who you are. I'll be quite honest with you, and it's probably wrong on my end, but I don't know who the Big 12 commissioner is. You see my point? Like that's the point of it all right there. I don't know who the ACC commissioner is just off top. We know who Sankey is, especially in the Southeast, for an event that he holds together every single spring. We know, or some people discovered what Destin was before spring break was a thing, because the SEC goes down there. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, these are the things, like Greg Sankey, you show up at these places. You've made yourself known. You made the SEC as big as it is. You jump from total revenue of $808 million to over $1 billion. This is one of the biggest, most powerful conferences in sports. I would say in general, when you look what the SEC provides to not just basketball, not just football, but to basketball, to women's sports. Some of the hottest WNBA players right now come out of the SEC. And I know UConn does their thing, but
on the court.
Greg, like, you've been a facilitator. Hottest on the court. Hottest on the court, yes.
No one's aggregating this show. Nobody's aggregating us out of context.
Nobody, man. But my point is this. Dog, your schools are distributing, about $72 to $80 million a year. Football, the spring meetings that you're at right now, they contribute to about 70 to 80% of that $1 billion. Greg, we're going to play this however you want us to. No, we're not going to play this how you want us to.
Well, and Greg Sankey has facilitated all of the change that's happened for conferences, going back to adding Texas and Oklahoma. The Big Ten does not become what it is without Greg Sankey poaching Texas and OU to join the conference.
Exactly. I think it's appropriate that he still has to be able to answer questions about what this conference is. I think it's fair that if we as people who are in the media are in a position that, we need answers. We want to know what you're going to do with the college football playoffs. We want to know what you're going to do about LSU and that transfer rule that they have right now, because they got nothing but pros in their starting five. You have to be able to answer those things, Greg. And we are also rabid about football. We care about football in the spring and what you and your coaches are discussing and talking about.
Brett Yormark and Jim Phillips, the two names you were looking for. Yormark at the Big 12, Jim Phillips in the ACC.
Brent Yormark?
Brent Yormark.
Yormark and Jim Phillips.
Yep.
My apologies to you, distinguished gentlemen.
Sorry, Brett and Jim.
Yeah.
It does feel like Greg Sankey talks to us being SEC fans through the media, more than he talks to Tony Batiti of the Big Ten. Because oftentimes both of them are publicly negotiating and publicly making stances, some of them wildly different from the last times they stepped in front of microphones, that it sounds like they're just saying to the other through press conferences and through microphones. That happened last week at Big Ten meetings in California, where, again, we're talking about the need for dollars to stay in the sport, the need for more money for these institutions to keep from cutting sports, all while you are next to the ocean at a premium resort in California, which is, par for the course for the way these things typically go. So last week, Tony Batiti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, says we've had zero conversation about 16 teams, a 16-team college football playoff proposal. He now says Plan B is what we have now, sticking with the 12-team playoff. The Big Ten's new stance is that it's 24 or 12. There's no 16. Greg Sankey is taking the stance of, well, that's odd because you're the one who suggested 16 in the first place.
Yeah.
It is hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. And as soon as you give university presidents and chancellors and athletic directors a balance sheet that has more zeros on it, all they are going to want is that. Yep. And going back to 16, which I think makes infinitely more sense than 24, even though I don't like particularly either of them. I think 12 might be too many, but 12 I can live with.
For sure.
As soon as you start to show them, hey, this is what you could make with 24, now you start having different conversations. And kind of like when you go shopping for a car and you look at a model of a car that you like and you test drive it and it's good, and all of a sudden you see the numbers on the low-end model. And then they say, but wait a minute, we actually went ahead and ran the numbers on what this would look like if you got the premium package that comes with roadside assistance, comes with a 24-hour, you press this button and they'll help you out. You get the parking package, you get the cooler LED lights, and all of a sudden the numbers on the one that you test drove have no interest to you anymore. You are interested in, cool, can I test drive this one? What colors do you have in it? Wait, is it available now? Do I have to pre-order it? Can I pick it up today? Why am I not already in the car? And so then at that point you get more greed because you've seen on paper what it could really look like and all the benefits that it could bring to you. Greg Sankey said, I was surprised by that since they brought 16 to the table. When asked about the 16-team playoff, said, when we were meeting last year, all those 16 ideas weren't ours and probably some of the outcomes. There's probably clarity that they have looked at 16, just not much of late. Tony Petitti would have to explain their positioning. He said the SEC would not have a unanimous vote right now on a number for a future college football playoff change.
Yeah. That is a fascinating approach right there to how they're going to negotiate this thing. You know what's sad about this in this situation in general? You just got the two big conferences speaking for everybody else. The Big 12 and the ACC hadn't been public enough about this as the Big Ten and the SEC have on this one too. And it's fascinating. These two are negotiating for everybody. And they
have the power.
I know, but like
the other ones don't have the representation to make change.
I usually thought like commissioners of conferences would find themselves in a position where they all meet up about it. And right now, as you said it before you started off, these two are publicly talking to us while negotiating with each other through articles like this too. And I feel like it's Bush League and it's almost a power struggle to figure out who's going to settle in the end.
Well, but they contractually have the majority.
Yeah, no doubt. I know they do.
In the grant of rights,
and they got the power and they got all the money to go along with it as well. But again, the consideration of everybody else is none right now. I think the 16 game is probably going to be where they end up at. You mentioned the money aspect of it though too. And I side with you on this part as well after talking to Hubs last Friday. Yeah, in the beginning part, the job security is going to mean a lot if you get it up to 24. Like, each coach is going to be able to say, we made the college football playoffs. Somebody's going to hang a banner each and every year until teams get tired, until fan bases get tired of it as well. Now, muddying the water or diluting the water when it comes down to who you are allowing in this 24-game playoff, that is kind of sketchy. If we are to make this product as best as we possibly can, we've had this conversation about the NFL. How much NFL is enough NFL and how much is too much? I think if the college game goes to 24 after revisiting this conversation, it'll be too much. It would be where a bowl games, I know you keep the teams together, but as far as the dilution of the product, it's going to be sad. It's almost like watching the NBA playoffs right now and how the Knicks they just beat up the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. Nobody wants to see that. I turned it off at halftime and went and watched Mad Men. Yeah, and that's what you don't want.
Right. And you are taking away your casual fans and your fans that don't have a rooting interest with the amount of blowouts that you're going to have. And you already have them in the first round.
Yes, you do. And despite the money, like, I get the drive for money in all of this. It's a necessary part for the facilities, travel, budgets. Women's sports is growing. Football in general pays everybody. So if you're telling me if Tulane, which was in the college football playoffs, and I shouldn't use them in general, it was a smaller Toledo can't make it in, I guess. A smaller school find themselves in a position.
They were in
JMU.
Go Dukes.
JMU find themselves in a position where they can earn more money for the university so their budget, facilities, and athletes can get a whole lot better because they got more access. Cool, I understand that. But this game that we love, especially on football, when you're competing at the highest level, should not be a participation trophy level of play.
Decisions aren't made for JMU. They're made for Alabama and Ohio State.
Yeah, and the big conferences.
And Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, respectfully to the fan base that I'm also marrying into, and James Madison, go Dukes, like, their needs aren't really represented and cared about.
But they'll get my point is, like, they'll get a payout from being in the college football
that's not the SEC's problem.
I know, and that's how they'll pacify them. Well, you guys can come and get slaughtered. We'll have a nice barbecue at the end of this thing, and we'll send you off with a check.
I think we're closer to them just being a part of their own playoff in the G5.
Which is even wilder to think of.
It's a really interesting spot to be in because teams are starting to have to justify the money that they spend a bit more carefully, and teams are scared. When you look at your schedules and when you look at an extra SEC game, you want more of a water slide. You want more of a buffer. You want more of a safety net if your quarterback gets hurt and has to miss 3 games in the season to be able to play your way into a better finish to the season and then a better trophy because now you're healthier and now you've had more time to be sharpened by trips to Alabama and Austin, or Tennessee this year, who's going to host Alabama, Texas, and LSU all in the same season. I mean, and that's just the beginning of it. You got Auburn coming to town. Like, it is a tough schedule. I mean, when you have a schedule that has Alabama with their win total at 8.5 this year because of the games that they're going to play in 2026, you have Georgia, whose win total is just 9.5. 9-3. Georgia wants guarantees that they're still in the dance, which I think they probably would be at 9-3 based on who their schedule is this year. But still, coaches are getting scared, and I think administrators are getting scared about having to make more responsible choices with their money. Who are you negotiating against when you give out these gaudy contracts to mediocre coaches? It happens time and time again in this sport where Matt Rule's deal that he just got at Nebraska, for what? Because Penn State won't take him? Call their bluff. Like, all this talk about, well, we don't have the money to do this. Well, no, you don't have the money to justify your bad decisions with the money, more so than anything else. And that, to me, is the bigger problem, is the way these teams and administrations choose to spend their money is an equally big problem that you're not going to see them try to fix because that's not in the best interest of the agents that really run the sport.
So that's interesting.
Agent.
Now,
that really runs the sport.
Jimmy. Yeah, shout out to him. I think he got an office here now. Well, either way, so here's the thing. This, to me, you're saying they have a parachute. They're trying to develop a golden parachute for themselves to earn more money and get more security because of bad decisions, because of bad coaches, or coaches that turn bad.
And it's not just coaching decisions, because a lot of that's technically not universities. It's boosters, but it's still money that's got to be spent by somebody. And it's that part of it. It's the Wild West of all these rules that they allowed to just, and the NCAA is complicit in some of this too.
No doubt.
To just happen without any kind of rules or regulations. I mean, until there is an antitrust exemption that can bring down the cap of spending a little bit, an antitrust exemption or some sort of collective bargaining agreement from players. That's what really needs to happen here is players need to unionize and collectively bargain for rights. And at that point, I know there's so much other red tape that's got to go on with this, but I'm in the boat of what Donnie Plowman and Danny White believe is that once players can collectively bargain and agree to a salary cap and a period of movement of where you can go to a different school, but only in this 2 or 3 week span. And you have to move only once. And if you move a second time, then you're sitting out a year or half a season or whatever they end up collectively bargaining for. Then we can start actually capping the money that can be spent, because we're not far away from the first $60 million roster, $75 million roster. Like, we are living in a world where eventually, Ramon, there is going to be a college football roster worth $100 million.
See, it's fascinating. Your point is awesome as far as like saying, hey, we got to get buffers around this. We got to get some safety nets around how we operate. You say bring down the cap, but here's the thing, though, too. The college coaches have created this culture, though, as well. The idea hey, everybody is just recruiting better than the other, and hey, I'm good at communicating and building relationships.
It's always been the Wild West.
But these guys have also been given money for the longest. Like, so the idea that college coaches can operate in a budget the way the NFL teams do, and the thing about
very
NFL,
different.
They're not going to, because I think they like this culture.
That's right.
That's the issue in my personal opinion. Is like, I'm with you. There should be real rules and guidelines. There should be, hey, transfer limitations. I personally think head coaches should be held at a higher standard as well. College coaches, in my opinion, on how they're let go and move universe, they're not shamed enough. They're not shamed. Like, you look at NFL coaches or NBA coaches, for that matter, like professional coaches, they are publicly shamed for how bad of a job that they do. These guys get opportunities at the drop of a hat. You brought up Matt Rule, and we don't cover him, so I'll go ahead and talk bad about him. Who is asking for Matt Rule to save them and take them to a national championship? Like, do you really believe Matt Rule has what it takes to go win a national championship, and you're going to overpay for a guy like that? To your point, college administrators that hire these people, I don't want to call them not smart. They make questionable decisions.
They don't have the power. The agents have the power.
Which is insane.
There's so many teams that are willing to pay. Like, your value is only what someone else is willing to pay for you. And Nebraska extended Matt Rule after a disappointing season because of what Penn State was reportedly willing to pay him. Here's the thing for me, though, about the cheating, and that they're still going to break the rules.
Like Will Wade situation right now, LSU.
But here's the difference, though. If you have a collective bargaining agreement and you set rules and you have parameters for who's in charge, now someone can actually penalize rule breaking, because it's not on the NCAA to penalize you for giving teams McDonald's bags. Because you're not going to have to wait 6 months just to get your notice of allegations, and then another 6 months to actually get your penalties, and then another 6 months because you'll get a local judge to overturn it. Like, all this local judge crap that we're doing, all this, let me go find somebody with a Tennessee diploma or a Texas Tech diploma or an LSU diploma to overturn something just because I got my feelings hurt because I didn't get what I wanted. All that's done. And now finally you could have a board of, whether it's athletic directors when the power conferences, whether it's all of the commissioners, whether it's Nick Saban, I don't care who it is. Josh Pate, the future commissioner of college football, would be so down to put him in charge. No matter who it is, if you collectively bargain for what the penalties are, you could actually finally enforce penalties for rule breaking. And I know that it's still going to happen, and I know there are always going to be loopholes, and there's always going to be Dodge Chargers being handed out in small towns all across this country. And all of that is just kind of a part of it. But you could actually have some sort of repercussion if you could just agree with the players on what is fair and what is unfair. Because until then, it's just going to be litigated in court every single time. Every single time. So in the meantime, we're going to sit here because coaches are scared and ADs are scared.
Yes, they are.
And they're sitting here saying, all right, well, if our 5-star freshman transfer is always a free agent every year, we got to expand this playoff. That way we have a little bit more margin for error. Teams everywhere have less margin for error based on injury, based on a transfer not practicing the way that you expected them to when you paid them $1 million to come out of the portal to play for your team. There is less buffer room for a bad season than ever before. And so coaches are sitting there saying, well, okay, well, if my edge rusher, who I promised this much money, if my quarterback gets hurt and now my backup, well, now he's at UConn.
Yeah.
And my backup, who has been in this system, would normally be here under normal parameters, but he got a better offer to start. Now all of a sudden my quarterback gets hurt. I am toast.
All right.
So I need 24 teams to make the playoff. That way, when I go on a losing streak over the month of October because my quarterback got hurt, I'm worse a backup quarterback than I've ever been. Like, Vanderbilt baseball is a great example.
Yeah.
Major injuries to their pitching staff this year. They are out of the NCAA tournament for the first time in 2 decades. Major injuries. Yeah. They got less margin for error than they ever have before.
Because
ever had before. And their program's still in fine shape. Like, they're recruiting very well for next year.
Yeah.
There's my rant for the morning.
No, it was awesome. But you're right.
Hour.
They're scared. They
I don't blame them. I really don't.
Because job security matters.
I can't totally blame them. 100%.
It matters.
100%.
But again, and here's the other side, though, too. I know we're up against it, but like, here's the other side, though. Like, there's tampering that happens in the NFL. But you know not to step outside of those, and those contracts mean a lot. Like,
there are unwritten rules that have been developed.
Teams have to give up something to get somebody else's player under contract. To your point about these one-year guys or as year-to-year contracts, they can just leave and they're negotiating in October on when they're going to leave and hit the portal. That's the ugly side of it, in which you can say, yes, I do get the idea that hey, we need more security and flexibility to fail. That's what it is, because there's only one national championship that you can win. But everybody fan base believes that because they've poured into the NIL and they got this big booster that owns this lumber company or this gas company, that they should be winning every year. That's not the case. So I get it, but at the same time, the coaches have also been facilitating this since the 1960s and 70s too, because every kid got a big Cadillac back then. Now, to your point, it's getting a Hellcat.
Yeah.
I mean, these boys are getting private jet deals now.
They are?
And they've been getting them. Mm-hmm. That's the other part. Johnny Manziel folks were big. They've been doing this. So the college coaches got to check themselves too. And that's why I've also said, as far as the SEC versus the Big Ten, they got to find a way to get better coaches. And that's the issue.
615-737-1045, our number as we wrap up hour number one. An athlete did something 57 times over the weekend in sports that a lot of folks have never done once. We'll talk about it coming up next.
One word that comes to mind when you think about Genesis Diamonds, it's integrity. This is a company built on a solid foundation with total transparency and honesty. This is why they don't have commissioned salespeople. They pay their employees, not you. So they aren't under any pressure to sell to you at all. And you aren't under any pressure to buy. They share with you the long-held secrets of the diamond industry, teaching you the tricks to maximize the value of your purchase. They show you how to buy like a dealer buys as well. Another thing, at Genesis, they don't play the pricing games, unlike other jewelers. They work on a very small margin, and they don't mark up to mark down prices. They offer the best value price every single day. And when they do have a sale, it's the real deal, not a phony event. We're lucky to have Genesis Diamonds here. They're not another big box corporate chain store at all. They're locally owned, but with international connections that guarantee no middleman pricing on every diamond. And don't forget, only Genesis is the top broad of designer brands that everyone wants. They were handpicked by all the top designers because only Genesis meets the highest standards in quality and customer care that these designers demand. You will love the experience there. Trust me. Genesis Diamonds, they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
There are certain days of the calendar that belong to individual sports. And for me, Memorial Day, obviously, first and foremost, about remembering those who have given their lives fighting for our country, about honoring our men and servicewomen. But baseball owns Memorial Day to me. Just feels right.
Yeah.
You're grilling out, you're outside. Didn't have much Memorial Day weather here in Nashville, but still a day that baseball should be watched and enjoyed all day. I don't know why every team doesn't play in Major League Baseball on Memorial Day. I think this is the second straight year the Braves have been off on Memorial Day. However, I'm settling for former Nashville Sound and Milwaukee Brewer Jacob Mizorowski, who made headlines yesterday hitting 100 miles per hour 57 times. And they win for the Brewers 5-1 over the St. Louis Cardinals. 57 pitches of at least 100 miles per hour is the most thrown by an individual in a game since pitch tracking began in 2008. Previous record belonged to Hunter Green of the Reds against the Cardinals on September 17th, 2022. So the Cardinals are just watching heat go by. He reached 101 miles per hour on 40 of his 96 pitches. He improved his ERA to 1.83, allowing 2 hits and 1 walk in 7 innings yesterday for the Brew Crew. What would you rather be able to do? Hit a home run or throw a 100-mile-per-hour fastball? What would feel better?
Home run. Without a doubt.
You were quick on that answer.
You were quick on that one.
I would love to hit a home run.
Both would feel awesome. Both would be awesome.
I think throw 100. Throw 100. I think hitting a home run, hitting the sweet spot, right speed of the ball, short field, you can go yard. Throwing 100 is mechanics. It's being able to throw a strike at the glove, not hit the person, and then put your body through it. Because the reason we're having this conversation, throwing 100 miles per hour this often isn't that common. That's why I'm choosing to throw 100 miles per hour. You know how unique that is?
Yeah, but to hear the crack of that bat, to see that baseball go over the wall into the fans, all screaming and cheering for you because they just caught your ball.
Yeah.
That just seems
and my appreciation of it.
Moment, iconic.
Oh no, 100, no doubt about
100
it.
100 miles an hour is great.
It is,
and it happens quite a bit. The sound of the ball hitting the mid is fantastic.
Fuck,
like
yes,
yeah. I just think that just like
he said, FAH. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, we're not doing what the kids do. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Just like you just mentioned that you can hit a baseball, you can hit a home run at any moment, and it requires mechanics to throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. A lot of pitchers can do that as well, just not 57 times.
No, a lot of pitchers can't throw 100 miles per hour. Absolutely not.
More than they used to.
Not 57
not the
times.
amount that can hit a home run.
I think they can touch 100. Some of them can touch it. Like throwing and sitting at 100 miles per hour is a totally different monster
things,
right there.
50 set, like what Mizorowski's doing is not normal.
Mizorowski,
obviously.
If you can't do either of them, okay, so he can throw 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But
Absolutely.
can he hit a home run? Does he want to hit a home run?
I think
versus
he has
like a home run hitter. Do they want to throw 100 miles?
These clown DH rules.
I love this.
See, for me, like I can't do either. What sounds more rewarding to me is to see that ball go over the wall.
Rewarding, yeah. Definitely hitting a home run might be more rewarding because, hey, I got to throw 100 again if I'm a pitcher. But, like, you actually are contributing only 1 strike by throwing 100 miles per hour. That's true enough.
And you can throw 100 and also be taking yard.
You can be taking yard.
But you can win a game with a home run.
But you can, but I've also seen
win a game
people
with
just
100 mile an hour pitch. I mean, we could do this all day.
You can. Like, that's Aroldis Chapman's, like, career at this point. That's what he does. I've seen people just toss the bat hawk and just hit a home run.
Not me. I can't. That's why I want to hit a home run.
You could, though.
Could I?
Yeah.
360.
Could you?
No. Probably not.
I can't. Like, I'll speak for myself. I definitely
approach. So which one would you rather do?
I'd rather hit a home run.
You rather hit a home run?
Because I know the serotonin boost you get when you, in golf, just pipe a drive right down the middle of the fairway. And the feeling of, like, your driver just swinging through the tee and it doesn't even feel like it touches a golf ball. Mm-hmm. You're just swinging and the ball just gets in the way and it's perfectly in the middle.
Yeah.
There's no resistance. Like when you really hit the sweet spot, those 3 times of my life, I've really hit the sweet spot on a drive, which that's honestly the strength of my golf game. So that is something I do a little bit more. But still, that feeling You're just chasing that feeling every time.
100%. So,
and it would be the same way in baseball. The first time you felt it, you just want to do it again.
It's more of an accomplishment to hit the home run for sure. But I think it's harder and more
I think it's more of an accomplishment to throw 100. I think there are less people that can throw 100 miles per hour than there are who can hit a home run. I mean, Bartolo Colon hit a home run.
That's my point about
I'm not going with what's the rarer thing. I'm going with what I think would be more fun for me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That's okay. And at that point,
I was a scrawny distance runner for most of my life.
You want the crowd?
Yeah, no, I want to feel big. I want to feel like I can hit it over the fence.
Yeah.
For me, I always wanted to hit the crossbar. Like when we played the crossbar challenge, that was like my
throwing the football.
Kickers are addicted to that.
No, in soccer, like you can play these like warm up games where you aim for the crossbar. And you got to ding it off the crossbar. That was always the goal for me. I wanted to hit the crossbar.
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up, Cam Ward spoke to the media last week, explained why Carnell Tate is a perfect fit for the new Titans offense. You'll hear from QB1 of the Tennessee Titans coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, we hate dealing with any of those issues, man, whether it's plumbing, HVAC, or electrical around your house. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's trying to sell you something you don't need. When you reach out to Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly, and the price you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. They have zero hidden fees or surprises on their bill at all. They work with integrity, good people. You don't stay in business for over 35 years if you don't. They're also family-owned and operated, so you know they care about their business. They dive into it and oversee it in a way that they make sure customer service comes first. Their techs are also very professional, experienced, and trustworthy, and not all background and drug screened as well. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech that is coming to your house and a link to track them in real time, so you're not sitting around wasting your time. They believe in this. Happy you'll bill the services fee. If you're not satisfied with the work that they do, they'll do all they can to make sure that they either fix it for you or they'll simply just hand you your money back. To learn more about Hiller or to book with them, head over to happyhiller.com.
7:02. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports of the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. For the first time since 1999, the New York Knicks are Eastern Conference champions and headed to the NBA Finals. The Knicks won their 11th straight game in the playoffs and completed the 4-0 series sweep over the Cavaliers Monday night, winning 130-93. Karl Anthony Towns led the way with 19 points, 14 rebounds in the win. The Knicks now await the Western Conference winner of the Spurs and Thunder, who have Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City. Series tied up at 2-2. Tip-off tonight is at 7:30. To the NHL, with their conference finals, the Hurricanes won their second straight in overtime over the Canadiens 3-2 and take a 2-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Tonight, the Western Conference Finals Game 4, the Golden Knights are looking to complete their 4-0 sweep over the Avalanche, who could be without top forward Nathan McKinnon due to injury. Puck drop tonight in Vegas is at 8 o'clock. And Nashville SC, they remain atop the MLS standings with 33 points after a 2-1 victory over NYCS FC Saturday night. Nashville extended their MLS unbeaten streak to 8 matches, and they stay unbeaten as well at Geodis Park. The MLS will now pause for the World Cup break before MLS play will pick back up in mid-July. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Break it easy once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour number 2 on this rainy Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Ramon Foster, Will Boulding, Ramon and Will. At Ramon Will on Twitter. Justin Hawkins, our producer. 615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up in hour 3 this morning, we're going to talk about how Cam Ward can control his own narrative. What has Cam Ward individually, specifically got to do to improve from year 1 to year 2? We have thoughts, I'm sure you will as well, that you can bring to the Evan and Beg chat on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, as an OTA practice will be open to the media once again this week on Friday. So we'll get the chance to see more on the grass, hear more from folks at the Vanderbilt Health Football Center. But Ramon, they gave us a lot to talk about last week.
Yeah, they did.
And the one practice that was open to the media and the availabilities that came with it. You'll hear a lot from Cam Ward and what he said last week on this morning show, including this on why Carnell Tate is a great fit for the new Titans offense under OC Brian Dable.
I just think he'll have an explosive year just because he'll get a lot of one-on-one matchups, and that's what we want. We want guys to come down and play man because we think we can beat them. And I think just him in this system, he's going to have a lot of field to have a lot of freelance within his routes, field space to sit down. And for a rookie coming in his position, I think this is one of the best offenses he could be in just because he's going to get coached, but he's not going to get overcoached. He's going to still be able to play football how he sees it. He listens to the quarterback, and he's going to be a great target for me.
Coached but not overcoached, Ramon. What does that look like for Carnell Tate in year 1?
I like even the last part of that. He listened to the quarterback. He'll be fine. Did you hear that part? Oh, that is awesome right there. What that means, man, is giving Carnell Tate a guideline for how he needs to play within the structure of this offense. If you feel like you can break off a route a yard sooner or break, as far as going down the field, reading the coverages if you're in a one-on-one position, I think Cam trusts him and also Carnell trusts himself to win in those moments right there. That's been the one highlight of Carnell. I feel like we saw at practice this past Thursday, but on his tape too. When it comes to him breaking down DBs, he does that. I'm not sure what they're reading when they look at him, whether it is his hips, whether it's his head, or just he's so quick getting in and out of his breaks, or just his catch radius. But he does really well against guys that are on him. Cam knows it. That's what the tape shows us. And to not be overcoaches is just play ball. I think whenever you come out to practice too, without doing too much, as far as the offense goes, you'll see what I saw last week. Cam knows there are going to be options in this offense. Cam knows, just watching what I saw last week, and when you see it too, there are going to be situations where they have to decide, are they going to play tight is Carnell, if they are playing press at the line of scrimmage, going to be able to beat a guy over the top, which it was reported last week through Jimmy Wyatt, Teron Davenport, and others. Carnell is good down the field. He found ways, and they found ways to scheme up the defense too. Now, again, I caveated all that by saying Jeffrey Simmons wasn't there. John Franklin Myers wasn't there as well.
Cordell Flott
too. But the belief that Carnell can win is absolutely top of mind for a guy like Cam Ward. And if you are a coach, you give him instructions, you give him parameters to work with through. I think earlier in the season, Carnell should be working within what the coaches are asking him to. And when he grows, and if he's as savvy as we think he is with his route running, yeah, give him the flexibility to say, look, I got this one. Give it to me at 5 instead of at 7.
How will this offense get Carnell Tate access into those one-on-ones, to Cam Ward's point there about we want defenses to come down and play man coverage?
Because I personally think the ball is going to come out quick to where teams are either going to say, we're going to give you the quick outs, or we're going to press you, in which they can just beat you over the top. Again, when you see the structure of this offense, the way I've kind of seen the New York Giants offense work, so too, it is predicated on the defense having good eyes, meaning the secondary and the second level. They have to have good eyes with this offense, man. It is going to end up being, if it holds true to what the Giants did, a bunch of run action, options on the outside, options in the backfield, to where you have to make a decision, especially if they start going max pro as far as being able to get the ball down the field or 6-man protections. Teams will have to make a decision. They're either going to try to run the ball. That's why I think Dable was so high on Cam Scatterbo. They're going to run the ball, and that shrinks the box. And at that point, you got so many skilled players outside.
Take your shots.
Can we be real? There's a reason why Wan'Dale Robinson had over 95 targets in each of the last 2 years. Those things don't just happen because, hey, we just got to get a ball to them. Like the pep in which this offense runs, they have the ability, from what we saw and it was reported, Cam is already going no huddle. That's the understanding that he has of this offense right now. So if he's grabbed onto it as quick as they possibly can, and Peter Skoronski spoke about that too, then again, the pace, I think, is going to throw some teams off to where you got to make decisions quick. Now, here's the other part. Cam and his crew got to be good on where he's going with the ball, too, and guys got to win. And I think that's where he's saying, I trust Carnell, I trust Wan'Dale, I trust Calvin.
Well, and two, I think you see this group of receivers have just better hands overall. And you raise the floor of the receiver room when you feel like the receiver is going to catch the football more consistently than was caught last year. Teron Davenport had a good stat in his piece about this at ESPN.com over the weekend, that Cam Ward completed 17% of his passes to last year's group of receivers when they faced press coverage. Got to be better than that this year.
Have to.
And that's on Cam. That's on the receivers getting separation. That's on the offensive line protecting him long enough to be able to find someone open in press coverage. That's not just a quarterback issue or even just a wide receiver issue, but to me, it does feel like, again, the system makes up for a lot of the hits that Cam took last year. And the changes in plays that you are running, the tempo at which you are running them, the movement for Cam in the pocket, the ability to run Cam more, because it's been well documented how much quarterbacks run and are mobile within a Brian Dable system. I think one of the other reasons, Ramon, they want defenses to play in man coverage is to allow Cam the ability to run with defensive backs having their back turned to the quarterback as Cam is escaping the pocket and climbing the pocket. Cam gave 2 or 3 answers last week when he spoke to the media about climbing the pocket. And he talked about that's part of the reason why he's lost the weight that he has, is just to be able to move more quickly and be more durable and be able to move in the pocket. I think pocket movement is a really big deal. We're going to talk about this more in hour 3, but we've spoken a lot, Ramon, about how Cam's time to throw number was 5th highest in the NFL last year. He took 55 sacks.
It's tough, man.
It's not always a direct correlation between how long you hold on to the football and how many sacks you take. The quarterback that led the league last year in time to throw was Caleb Williams. He took 31 less sacks than Cam Ward did last year. He took 24 sacks last year. Cam took 55. I think you were looking more at that kind of pocket movement and let's just get rid of the ball and live to fight another day and throw it away. And can we run? Can we just find a check down? You're never going to totally coach the improvisation out of Cam Ward's play at quarterback.
I think you should.
But how do you coach good outcomes at the end of those plays?
Yes.
That's, I think, what Brian Daboll in this offense and Carnell Tate being one of those options down the field late in improv plays. That's the shift you want to see that is going to be the main focus of 2026.
Caleb Williams, to me, is a template for what you want in Cam in season 2. I personally want Cam's completion percentage up. That just shows efficiency, But when you look at Caleb Williams' second year, his completion percentage went down tremendously. It went from a 62.5, I say tremendously, but he went to 58.1. You know what went up? His yards.
Well, he got sacked like 40 less times.
Because he threw away the ball. That's the part that you're mentioning right there. Go ahead, Hawk.
68 sacks in 2024.
68
Third
sacks.
most in NFL history.
And then he takes that down all the way to 24. That's because, to your point, I'd much rather you pocket integrity, step up if you have to, throw that thing away. It's okay. Live to fight another down and take all those hits off your body as well. And don't put the ball in the opposing team's hands. And when you look at his second year, it's all relative to efficiency. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where Cam's talking about pocket manipulation, stepping up or going vertical to his steps and driving through the ball. All of those things matter. That is a great. Caleb to me is a template.
We'll talk more with that coming up in hour number 3. But when we come back, VolQuest's Austin Price joins us for his weekly visit. Tennessee hitting the practice field again on the football field this week. What is the one area the staff will want to see the most growth from George McIntyre and Faison Brandon as the quarterback battle continues? Austin Price answers that and much more with us coming up next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. I love talking about my friends at Fleet Feet Nashville because I have been a Fleet Feet customer since I was in high school. As a high school distance runner that went on to run in college, I know the value of getting the right fit for runners of all ages and all experience and skill levels. You want to make sure that you get the right fit, and Fleet Feet is going to be able to take you through the best fitting process around. They're going to give you a scan of your foot. You're going to know the exact size, shape, the inserts that you need, the brands that are best for you. Because if you're out there hitting the roads, preparing for a road race, or just want to be active, you want to make sure you're getting the right fit. Fleet Feet also has a great running community that they're going to connect you with. Coming up a week from tomorrow, Wednesday, June 3rd, check out the Big Run. Celebrate Global Running Day with Fleet Feet Nashville and Brooks at a free 5K at Geodis Park. You can head to fleetfeetnashville.com to learn more. fleetfeet.com/Nashville/the Big Run, Wednesday, June 3rd at 6:30 p.m. They're going to get you involved in the local running community, not just a race, but a celebration of 50 years of Fleet Feet. You can find out more about Fleet Feet and the services they provide you online at fleetfeetnashville.com. The glass breaks every Tuesday here on Ramon and Will, and when it does, you get the very latest on Rocky Top out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, joined as always on Tuesdays by our good friend Austin Price of VolQuest and On3. Good morning, Austin. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
I'm great, guys. How are you?
We're good. Glad to be back at it on a 4-day work week. Tennessee back at it on the football practice field here in the coming days. And Austin, as Tennessee hits the field, what is maybe the area the staff will want to see the most growth from George McIntyre and Faison Brandon as the quarterback battle continues?
I think it's just time on task. It's the ability to run the offense effectively, to do it with little to no mistakes, getting in and out of the huddle, those type of things. But a lot of that, you can work on a few things during the summer months, but a lot of that will really take off, when you get to August. But I think just finding leadership out of that position, and that's hard because Faison's a true freshman, George is a redshirt freshman. So just the ability to find growth, even if it's incrementally, is something that I think Joey Halsley, Josh Heupel, and the offensive staff will be looking for.
Austin, what is the latest on Chaz Coleman's timeline to get back to a normal routine on the practice field with his teammates?
Well, you'd like to have him back out on the practice field, the workout, the weight room stuff with Derek Owings this week. Tennessee reconvenes today, and you'd love to have him out there. You'd love to have him be a part of it. We'll see if that's the case. There's nothing. Again, a lot of positive things that have happened over the last month with Chaz off the field, but that doesn't guarantee that, he's going to be good to go. I said last week I think on Josh and Swain over here in Knoxville, I'd be shocked if he's not. That was just based off of what's happened, kind of off the field the last month to give it a lot of positive traction, but that doesn't mean that, he's going to be cleared to go, good to go, all any of that stuff. With the stuff he's got going on behind the scenes. So we'll see. Again, in a perfect world, he's out there at some point this week and, kind of reacclimates with his team and goes from there. If he doesn't, then, if you're Josh Heupel, there's got to be a reason why he's not, more so than he just don't want to be. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be some type of reason that he's not on the field. If not, then you're putting yourself in a weird spot, letting him continue on with the team. So, they've got to get that figured out pretty quick over the next, 7 to 10 days.
We're joined by Austin Price of VolQuest and On3 this morning. Also, when you look at this, team right now offensively, who you think has the edge right now to get in the rotation after the first running back is done? That's Deshaun Bishop, man. Where is that depth at going into the summer, into the fall?
Well, I think that's to be determined, much like the quarterback position, Ramon.
Yeah.
I think the backup running back behind Deshaun will be determined in fall camp. Javon Gordon had a really, strong spring, I thought. But the transfer from Tulane. But that doesn't mean he's going to be the guy. DeJuan Morris is someone who had a nice spring, is a different player than Gordon. Again, I think there's a couple of different options here to go with. At the tailback spot behind Deshaun Bishop, and they each offer a little bit of something different. So, for my liking, again, you're probably 2.5, 3 months away from knowing fully who the backup running back will be, and that will likely change depending on the opponent throughout the season.
No doubt. Man, this sophomore group has a lot of talent. I think we know it on signing day, and we've heard you guys speak about it, and we have as well. Aside from George, who do you think could have the largest jump in production this season amongst that sophomore group?
Well, you better hope that it's for Darius Jackson and Travis Smith. You need a receiver into that Chris Brazzell role, even if it's a combo, a couple of guys. I think that still is a thing. At tight end, you need Deshaun Brain. David Sanders becoming the unquestioned leader of the offensive line as a sophomore would be big. We just talked about the running backs and DeJuan Morris. Defensively, Ethan Utley, Marion Dye to come to mind. The linebacker spot, I don't think you have to have a massive jump from Perlotti or Jaden Harmon or anybody like that because you're so deep at that position. Ty Redmond's got to continue to come on at corner. So there's a lot of second-year guys that Tennessee need to have a jump. And all of those guys we just talked about have had good off seasons to the point where you feel like, hey, they're going to be a real factor for this team, whether it be as a starter or a major contributor.
Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Austin, with a big recruiting visit weekend over the weekend for Josh Heupel in Tennessee, where did Tennessee help itself the most? Any one specific recruitment, just in general with a group of players? What for you is the biggest headline coming out of the weekend for Josh Heupel and crew?
I don't know if there's a overriding headline, Will. I thought Tennessee helped themselves with MJ Evans. Again, both he and Darius White have several more visits to go, and a lot of twists and turns can happen when that happens. But I do think they did as well as they possibly could for their weekend. Again, when you're the first, it's a good thing, and it can also be a bad thing depending on how long this thing drags out, because the further you get away from that visit, how much do you remember about it? Unless it was so good that it's the overriding thing that sticks with you, like nothing can top this visit. I can't find a place that's better than Tennessee, so on and so forth. So I think it depends on how you look at it. Antoine Jackson, unofficially, Tennessee's going to be the first school he sees unofficially with the A65 Live event, and then will be the last school he sees with his official visit coming up on June 19th. So I felt like they did a really nice job there. We'll see about Eric McFarland, the IMG wide receiver who is from Las Vegas. They did a nice job there, but I don't know where it goes from there. And then I think this particular weekend you could look back and go, okay, we've got a couple, or you could look back and go, they didn't get any besides Slim, who's already in the boat. So
sure.
I think the first weekend, which really wasn't supposed to be a weekend, but because Tennessee wanted to get kids to campus and that was the weekends they had available, you obviously take what you can get. You had this strong weekend, like I said, with MJ Evans. Where's that at 2-3 weeks down the line when he visits these other schools?
Austin, Oak Ridge tight end Malik Howard didn't have to go far to meet with Tennessee. I know you guys have an interview with him up at VolQuest.com that Matt Ray did over the weekend. As he approaches a decision, where is Tennessee at with him, and how big of a target is the local product Malik Howard?
He's obviously a massive target. The number one tight end on the board, has been for a long, long time. And it feels like Tennessee's got a ton of momentum there, Will. He really likes Alec Ablin. I think the ability to, stay at home, play for the Vols, make it easier for his family, all that stuff I think weighs. Now, Notre Dame is not going away. I don't think he's going to visit Alabama this weekend. It felt like if he was going to visit anywhere, he might visit Oregon, but I'm not sure he visits anywhere. We'll see. He was still trying to decide all that when he left campus on Saturday, but it certainly felt like Tennessee has the most momentum. He'll be back for his official visit next weekend and then supposed to go to Notre Dame after that. Again, supposed to. How much can Tennessee get done over the next week or two to potentially close this one out? It feels like we're headed that direction, but he doesn't have anything locked in as of a decision right now and hasn't officially canceled any of the visits. So I know that was something he was looking at working on when he left campus on Saturday.
The Vols ended up getting the Chapel Hill draw in the regional, Austin, man. What stands out about them as they are faced with East Carolina, North Carolina, and VCU going into this regional?
It's a tough draw.
Yeah.
I mean, East Carolina's a good baseball team. Traditionally, they're going to be a tough out. They pitch it pretty well. So does Tennessee. But Tennessee's not really deep. I mean, Tennessee's got to win these first two games. They've got to beat East Carolina, and then whoever they play in game two, likely that would be North Carolina if it all went chalk. They're going to have to find a way to win. To me, the only way they can come out of the only way they can get in the losers bracket is if they win the first two games and they stay out of the losers bracket. Even if you get forced into that extra game late in the weekend in a winner go home situation. At that point, whoever you're facing will have been pretty strapped on their pitching as well, and it should be fairly even. If Tennessee gets in the loser's bracket one of these first two games, I just think that's all she wrote, because I don't think they have the pitching to come out of it like they've had in years past. Tennessee's offense has obviously woken up the last 3-4 weeks, and that's a great sign. Tennessee's pitching has been good all year when it comes to the starters, and maybe the arm or two right out of the bullpen like an Arvidsson or an Appenzeller. But after that, they've proven time and time again they are a struggle bus when you get deep into the bullpen. So Tennessee's got to find a way to win these first two games. It's as simple as that. If not, it's going to be hard to see them advancing past this initial weekend.
Is there any update on Reese Chapman and Landon Mack availability this week?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're trying to keep things relatively close to the vest on a lot of that. To my knowledge, there's no update there.
Austin, as you look ahead for the state of Tennessee baseball and the resources that Josh Elander will have in his first full offseason as the head coach, how big of an investment do you still see Tennessee making in baseball, and specifically this offseason? How many resources do you see Josh Elander having available to take the lessons from year one and turn over a lot of this roster headed into year two with so many big prospects headed to the next level?
I think he'll still have the resources. I don't think Danny White's putting $100 million in the stadium and all that stuff and not giving him the resources. Tennessee will still have the resources to go out and field a really competitive baseball team. And at that point, you got to see how he puts the baseball team together. Obviously, this was a team that he helped assemble with Tony Vitello, but Tony Vitello is the ultimate decision maker with this team. And Tennessee was short in the bullpen. Early in the year, they didn't have enough bats, but Tennessee obviously started to hit it better as we got to late April, early May. And you're Tennessee, you're hoping you can continue to do that, because if you can score runs, it gives you a chance, especially if you have to go to that bullpen game or you have to turn to the bullpen at some point in the game. So I think he'll have every opportunity to be successful here.
He is Austin Price, VolQuest at On 3, joining us this morning. Under 100 days until football, baseball, postseason, recruiting heating up. Always a good time to be a VolQuest subscriber at volquest.com. Austin, appreciate you as always. Talk to you next week. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price hitting the headlines with us out of Knoxville. Going back to the football side of it, Ramon, I think
that's where I wanted to go.
He makes a great point. I know Brent wrote about it last week, Brent Hubbs at volquest.com. Story of the season on a smaller level and a larger level. Do the sophomores take a step? Because that's the question you're asking at quarterback with George McIntyre. Mm-hmm. But he ran through the different positions in which sophomores are heading into a big next season. You are looking at a class that this coaching staff liked a lot when it came in. And you are looking at a class that could be transformational for Tennessee football. That's got to grow up really quickly.
Yes, they do.
Of sophomores that don't have time to be sophomores. They need to play like veterans. And, I mean, there's even more players he brought up there that I don't think about off first glance besides David Sanders, George McIntyre, Ty Redmond.
I mean,
at every level of this team, you have a sophomore that needs to grow up quickly.
This 25 and 26 class, this group right here has I feel like if you were stepping back this year, and I feel like this recruiting class is the 27, I feel like they've taken a step back because they got so much in the 25 and the 26 group. Like revisiting, I went to it right now just to look at it, Will. And this class was ranked 8th, the 25 class. Mm-hmm. The 26 class was ranked 4th. Those two clusters right there can set you up for a lot of success if they develop, if Derek Owen does what he wants to, if the offense evolves, and if you keep, you've already lost one, Jack Van Dorselaer. Like, you've lost him. Now, again, his situation is super unique. I get it, but Will, David Sanders, we ain't even mentioned Isaiah Campbell in that 25 class. Marion Dahi-Menor, Deshaun Brain, we've yet to see him take that next leap. Like, up and down this group, Will, it is Jaden Harmon, Ethan Utley. Jaden Lofton's another edge rusher that's a 4-star out of this group. And we hadn't even mentioned him just yet.
I don't think he plays for Tennessee anymore. I think
he's
that's why.
gone as well?
I think so.
Stop. There's no way Jaden Lofton's gone. I'm looking right now.
Yeah, no, he
Wisconsin.
is. Yeah, he's gone.
That quick?
I mean, the only one left was Marion Dye.
Wow.
Over the offseason.
Off the
Because
offseason.
the whole edge rusher room left.
Perlotti is still in-house as well. But, they got a lot of real good talent. And the one for me that he mentioned, Ty Redmond. I mean, we're looking at a freshman that played all of last year that could, if he sets himself up at minimum, be a second or first rounder. That's the way I'm looking at him if he continues on the growth that he's capable of. But you're right, asking that question about the sophomores. This group is legit.
It is. I mean, on paper it is. I think, honestly, we're going to talk about the Vandy baseball regional streak ending coming up later in the show. And they're kind of having the same discussion on the baseball side that I think Tennessee is. You weren't maybe as good, especially on defense, as you wanted to be last year. Mm-hmm. But what are the long-term benefits to some players playing before they were probably ready to play?
Long-term is the experience.
Right. How does that time on task serve you in the back end? What growing pains that you have to pay for in the moment with Ty Redmond that you actually could benefit from later in his career? Because later on in his career, he will have had that experience of giving up some plays. But as a true freshman, because he had to play.
Absolutely. But like the Georgia game, in general, whether it's his fault or a coaching mistake, because I heard it being both ways.
Right.
But this is the way it used to be.
Right. The goal is to keep those players. That way you benefit from that experience.
Absolutely. And that's the issue in not having, like legitimately looking down this roster and seeing that Jaden Lofton's not there. I'm thinking to myself, why? You're just getting started. And he goes to Wisconsin. I get it, of course. You ask for a bag, and people want you in recruiting, so you got to go that route. But what about the development side of it and seeing that, look, I committed to this school because I want to play at this school and wear the jersey and run out.
It's the way it used to be.
I know. I'm still conditioning myself for it, but I agree with the coaches. There got to be. Well, I'll say this. I agree with the ADs and Donnie Plowman. There has to be rules to this.
Well, and I agree
with
what
do you know within a year?
I agree with what Austin has said, too, on the show, and I know he's written about it. The just philosophical change of let's not add players just to add players so they can sit over here on the bench as freshmen.
That's true.
Finding more either projects who are okay with sitting a little bit longer and come in with a certain expectation that it's going to take me 2 years before I'm ready to see the field, and that's okay. Or finding immediate impact guys and more prioritizing. Let's have a smaller group of high school recruits overall that can have more of an immediate impact. It feels like that's the change that Tennessee's trying to make.
But if that's the case, how do you feel in? And I know it matters as much, but how do you feel in your special team side of it? How do you feel in your practice bodies if everybody feels like they can play?
That's a great question.
That's to your point about.
Those are questions that everyone's asking right now. No one's as deep as they used to be.
No, they're not. And I think it's made the conversation better. We're going to see if it absolutely makes the game better, too, because to the teams that are willing to spend it, that's the issue.
Depends on what perspective you're looking at. If you're looking at Indiana's perspective, heck yeah, all of this made their game better.
I mean, absolutely.
If you're looking at Alabama's, not so much.
Not so much. You look at what LSU did under Brian Kelly, not so much. I don't know. It's a fascinating approach to try to figure out what perfection is in college football. And right now, it's never been a perfect system, and it's even more muddy now.
More than ever, there are more different avenues to be successful in this sport. The core of what you've got to be. You still got to be well coached, still have to be disciplined, still have to be a lot of the things that Nick Saban was doing. Your team still has to check a lot of those same boxes. And Kurt Cignetti is the closest thing to Saban personality-wise as we have in the sport. Checked a lot of those boxes last year without giving out maybe as many Dodge Chargers, respectfully, to recruits, without having some of the investment. But at the same time, right, he also did things a little bit differently. By having shorter practice times and by being older and having more 23 and 24-year-olds that you couldn't have back in the day because you didn't have 5th and 6th year transfers that were allowed. I mean, there are just so many different ways to build up your roster. I mean, you could look at just the teams that made the Final Four last year. Do you want to more emphasize high school recruiting? Great. Do it well. Do you want to emphasize the transfer portal and be the portal king? Great. Lane Kiffin made the Final Four and earned himself a new job out of it. More than one way to do it.
I went back and just looked at the 26 class that Indiana has as far as football commits. They're still playing the same game. Nationally ranked 30th. They are 8th in the Big Ten.
Well, yeah,
as far as overall ranking. Like, it might still be a portal.
8th of the Big Ten?
8th in the Big Ten. Yeah.
Ole Miss?
No, Indiana.
Oh, you said
I was
Ole
talking
Miss.
about Indiana.
Oh, okay.
No, I thought I said Indiana.
I think you said Ole Miss. It doesn't matter.
Words. Either way, I said they're still doing it the old school way, though. They're only ranked 30th.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to see what Cignetti does, especially if there are more guys that want to come there. They are highly rated.
Yeah, they're a fascinating story this year.
Yeah.
615-737-1045, our number. Nashville SC gets one final win before a long break. They made some history in the process, and they are on track to break some big records. We'll tell you what they are coming up next. Take the stress out of moving with an experienced agent who knows the area and knows how to get you results. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friend Bernie Gallerani Real Estate. For Ben and his family, the decision to buy and sell at the same time could have felt overwhelming. But from the very first conversation with Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, they knew they were in good hands. Every question was answered with care, including the ones they weren't quite sure how to ask. And never once did they feel like any concern was too small to share. Throughout the entire process, Ben and his family felt truly represented with a team that advocated for their best interests at every turn. And you can afford to buy and sell at the same time when you have a guarantee that your home is going to be sold. Bernie Gallerani guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. His team will take care of every small detail, because no small detail is too small in the real estate process. Give Bernie Gallerani a call. Get the 30-day guarantee to work for you at 615-428-2644. You can check out more online at BernieGallerani.com. That's 615-428-2644. Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, online at BernieGallerani.com. So Nashville SC was at it again over the weekend. And they don't play till mid-July, but they are on pace to do some historic things at MLS. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Ramon and Will. 615-737-1045, our number. Nashville SC 2, NYCFC 1 at Geodis Park on Saturday night. Goals from two center backs, the difference, as Jason Palacios and Maxwell Waleji find the back of the net. Sam Surridge returned, logging 18 minutes as a substitute. His first game since April 25th against Charlotte. Here is what Nashville SC has done, Ramon. They have headed into the World Cup break with first place next to their name. Top of the league, top of the Supporter Shield race. Nashville SC has 3 losses in its first 22 matches of the season. The boys in gold are unbeaten in 8 straight, unbeaten in 7 at Geodis Park in MLS play. They are outscoring opponents 40-14. And how about this? Have the 3rd most points in MLS history through 14 matches.
Let's go.
Only 5 other teams in league history have taken at least 33 points from their first 14 matches. All 5 of them won the Supporter Shield, the regular season title in MLS, the trophy given to the team with the best regular season record. One of them, the 2000 Kansas City Wizards, also won MLS Cup. If Nashville SC sustains this points pace that they have through 14 matches, with, again, 20 matches to go and a lot of soccer left to be played, Nashville has a chance to break the all-time points record in MLS history. They are on pace to be the first team ever to have 80 points in an MLS season. The single season record was set by Miami in 2024 of 74 points.
Oh, no way.
That is the kind of incredible pace that Nashville SC is on as they hit the World Cup break in MLS.
Man. So let me ask you a question. That was a lot of positivity. I want to live in that world often.
A lot of good things.
Where do the goals come against Nashville SC when it's 40-14? So it's not even half of what they're giving up. I mean, of what they've made. When there's breakdowns of Nashville SC, where does it happen, and how can they prevent that? And have they, I guess, cleared those deficiencies up from time to time?
I think at times you've just seen them give up goals in busy weeks. And you're not going to have as many busy weeks. Okay. For me, it's not just one phase of play.
Yeah.
It's been the only time you've seen the defensive record slip a little bit. It's when they haven't had as much time to prepare for an opponent.
When CONCACAF was going on.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Ben Wright wrote about that at 615soccer.com over the weekend. Before the break, Nashville SC played 22 games in 95 days. Dang. After the break, Nashville will play 23 games in 113 days. Okay. So you were looking at an added 20 days to play just one more game.
And it's going to get more intense, I'm guessing. And also summertime is going to get hotter outside. So that recovery matters. For
sure.
Yes.
For sure. You've got right now on the schedule, and again, you'll probably get to more games than that if you advance in Leagues Cup.
Sure.
And obviously in the playoffs. That's only considering the end of the regular season plus the Leagues Cup tournament, which Nashville will play 3 group kind of league phase games that are scheduled against Liga MX competition. They'll hope that they advance in that tournament and obviously have more. But they have also done all of that with incredible injuries. And Sam Surridge, who is second in the race for the Golden Boot, leads Nashville with 10 goals in all competitions, has missed 9 matches with injury. Yeah. Patrick Yazbek and Eddie Tagseth have been out for the better part of a month here at the end of the first phase of the schedule. Sam Surridge has started 4 league matches. Mm-hmm. So even though you may have still a lot of games to play after this, in a perfect world, you'd hope, knock on wood, that some of your starters that have been out are healthy again. So you're able to feel more confident about that. And again, I think, too, they benefit from some of the guys who have been thrust into bigger roles here early. Brian Acosta has been terrific for them in midfield, all things considered, with the role he's been asked to play now as a starter for these last couple of games. So they're going to be better for a lot of the injuries that they've had long-term because it's forced more players to have to play more and learn some lessons that maybe starters will have learned if they were healthy through all of this.
For sure.
It's exciting, though.
It is. I was over in the Wedgwood area this weekend and went to dinner and stuff like that before going to that bar. And Nashville SC has such a culture. Like walking in Wedgwood to a game is an item now. It's a thing. It's an
NSC
event.
logos everywhere.
NSC logo. And that's what I'm saying. Like it was right before kickoff, I guess is what I was saying. And I was over in Wedgwood around that time, went to Soho. And it was just like a situation. It's like, yo, okay, this is a culture.
It's growing a lot.
They've built this thing up.
We have got one of the better MLS fan bases in this country.
And like everybody's in attire.
Yeah.
Everybody's
100%. I know there's still so many people who haven't jumped on the bandwagon yet, who are still learning more and getting involved with it. But I'm telling you, the amount of care and the amount of overall attention that this city gives its MLS team, we've got it really good here. Really good here. And it's only going to grow. Yeah. As good as they are and as well as they're playing and as well as they've embedded themselves in the community. And there are a lot of people over at that club and that facility who deserve a lot of credit for helping get it to that point as well. John of the Borough wants to talk NSC. What's up, John?
What's up, John? Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Will, I know you're happy given the results over the weekend, lifting a trophy with Arsenal.
Champions, ole, ole, ole. Thank you. Appreciate
it. As a West Ham fan, I am obviously very heartbroken, but that's all right because the highlight to that is everybody's been talking about squad turnover with West Ham, and the one name that I see continuing to gain steam is Sam Surridge. And to which I say, please don't. Like, I tell them, please don't. I tell West Ham fans, please don't, because he is vital to Nashville SC, and I love having him here. But he is gaining a lot of steam. He's gaining a lot of momentum over there. They think he'd be a really good championship player, which I think that's more of a diss at someone. Hey, you're a really good championship player, but once we get to the Premier League, you're going to sit on the bench, right? No, I would much rather him stay with the MLS. Anyway, go Nashville SC. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. It feels like a Monday, and go be great.
No doubt. You two be safe in traffic.
Appreciate the call. I would be surprised to see Sam Surridge make a move like that. Never say never.
He'd have to leave SC?
Yeah, if he went to West Ham. So West Ham just got relegated. Unfortunately, they got relegated instead of Tottenham, who's going to stick around as
break that down to me.
They are one of the bottom 3 teams in the Premier League, so they get sent down to the Championship, which is the second division.
So they can start asking for help?
Well, they're going to lose most of their players.
Oh, so Surridge will be a replacement. Mm-hmm. So that's why John was like, that's disrespectful.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just think that Sam Surridge left a team that was kind of in that limbo between the Premier League and the Championship in Nottingham Forest. He helped bring them up to the Premier League. I think if Sam Surridge was going to go back to England, it would be for a Premier League team.
Okay.
I would be surprised to see him go to another Championship team because that would be kind of taking another step back to what he was before he came to Nashville. You never know. West Ham is a team that has a lot of history, a lot of tradition. They play in the London Olympic Stadium that hosted the 2012 Olympics. I mean, it is a team with a lot of history that comes with wearing that shirt. And, maybe that would be intriguing to him. I would just be surprised to see him go back to that division. But we'll see. Never say never.
For sure.
Right now, I understand a guy who lives in Nashville who is a West Ham fan saying, no, I'd rather Nashville SC benefit from Sam Surridge. I also would rather see Nashville SC have Sam Surridge, obviously. Coming up, 615-737-1045. We'll hit the headline from hour 1 once again. Greg Sankey makes headlines with his initial address at SEC spring meetings, and we'll tell you what he had to say coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster, and I'm with Aaron from United Structure Systems. Man, they came by today to check out my house. If there's any issues, small or big, you're gonna fill us in there.
We can take care of it no matter what kind of problems. So first off, we'll just kind of take a look through your house and see what kind of issues you got going. Cracks in the brick, cracks in the drywall, weird spots in the floor, doors sticking, windows not opening properly. Once we identify those areas, we're going to do a thorough inspection around the outside, make sure there's no issues going on with that. And then once we look over it, we'll talk about what's going on, and hopefully we ain't got no issues, and then we'll go from there.
Let's go. Let's go.
Ms. Foster, so we have looked at the issues that you brought up. We had the drywall in the attic up here above your bonus or your garage. You had some doors sticking.
I did.
Going in your bathroom. So we've inspected all that. We don't see any major structural concerns. So you're going to be one of our lucky good news customers today. There is some minor deflection there. That's not an uncommon thing. As any house is built, it's its biggest and its strongest the day that it's born. Gotcha. Right? And from that point, it just gets older, just like us. We ain't hopping up out of bed, taking off down the hallway, running down the stairs anymore.
Not protecting quarterbacks anymore.
No.
Opening up late. We're done.
Your guard ain't there no more.
Okay,
so.
I got you.
So it just happens. It gets a little older and it starts to deflect. Now, there are some things we can do to kind of help adjust those doors, mainly adjusting in the door, which we don't necessarily do, and maybe doing some light shimming in the crawl space down there to address those sticking doors. But for now, no major issues there. We did talk about the grading in the back and some issues that we can take care of back there for you. But that's pretty much up in a nutshell. No big issues and you're good to go. So.
Awesome. So again, the way you deal with United Structural Systems is it's upfront, it's honest, and now I can sleep peacefully at night, okay?
This is a different court, Blair.
Same result, Slay.
Oh, okay, Blair. See, that's Tyler Tanner. See, Tyler Tanner's in the house now.
Let's see what you got. Jerry's out, Blair.
Blair, come on. Okay, Blair, just come sit down. Come on, Blair, stop. You're going to get hurt. Blair, get off the court. That's enough.
What's the verdict, Blair? The courtroom is where I play ball.
Boy, Durham, injury law. And that ain't got no roof.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
8:04, good morning live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The New York Knicks are Eastern Conference champions and headed to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. The Knicks won their 11th straight game of the playoffs and completed the 4-0 series sweep over the Cavaliers Monday night, winning 130-93. Now the Knicks will await the winner of the Western Conference, the Spurs and Thunder, who have Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City. Series tied up at 2-2. Tip-off tonight is at 7:30. NHL Conference Finals, the Hurricanes won their second straight last night over the Canadiens, 3-2. In overtime, they take a 2-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Tonight, the Western Conference Finals, Game 4. The Golden Knights looking to complete their 4-0 series sweep over the Colorado Avalanche, who could be without top forward Nathan McKinnon due to a knee injury. Puck drop tonight is in Vegas at 8 o'clock. And this morning, Ball Baseball was announced their schedule for the Chapel Hill Regional in the NCAA tournament in North Carolina. It's their 16th appearance in the NCAA tournament. The Vols in the Chapel Hill Regional will see North Carolina, East Carolina, and VCU. The Vols' first game will be held this Friday against East Carolina at 11 o'clock a.m. Central Time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show on this Tuesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins behind the glass.
What's up?
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up in 15 minutes, for all the improvements and changes the Titans are going to need to make in 2026, what is Cam Ward responsible for individually? Where do the caveats, the different qualifications we make for Cam, where do those end? And where is it just on Cam Ward to be better going from year one to year two? We'll talk about that coming up in 15 minutes. More than 20 reporters, Ramon, yesterday gathered for a formal press conference at the Hilton Resort in Sandestin for Greg Sankey's State of the SEC address. He has many of those a year. This one in the SEC's official vacation place, the city of Nashville's official vacation place at Sandestin. And he tells reporters, quote, "If you can overhype a spring meeting, I think that successfully happened. You can tamp that down about the league reaching a consensus when it comes to future college football playoff changes." He says, ultimately, the goal for administrators in Destin this week is to fulfill our leadership responsibility to understand, to study. And Executive Director Rich Clark says he will pay SEC administrators a visit, Sankey said, to go over models in more depth. Do you believe Greg Sankey when he says there is not a consensus and don't expect major change to the college football playoff this week?
I can see that being the case. Yeah, I do. I also think this is public negotiating. Like, don't pull the rug from underneath us, Big 16. What is it? Preddy is his name, too.
Tony Petit of the Big Ten.
If the Big Ten is like, don't pull the rug from underneath us. You told us 16, and now you're going all the way up to 24. Come on back down, and let's figure out what these negotiation tactics are, or what our agreements are on this. If it's 6 or 12, I don't think many people have an issue with 12. It's just going to raise the conversation again. Eventually, we're going to get to that point. It's a big deal. Greg Sankey has to acknowledge that. There's too much money, too much power, too many eyes that are on the SEC and Big Ten for them to act like it's not a big deal at all. And I'll add this, as I said earlier, the SEC and Big Ten are billion-dollar industries right now. Each teams are getting close to $80 million just off sharing of money from TV and just the exposure that they allow themselves. The national championships are coming out, and no matter how much money I guess Miami is spending right now, or how much Dabo Swinney feels like he's still in the hunt, it's still coming from the SEC and the Big Ten. Get together. Have a conversation. I don't care if you got on your cashmere sweater while you're at the beach. Talk to the man and get this done and represent the SEC the way you should, too. It's too much. It's too big at this point.
Way too big.
Way too big for him to downplay anything that's going on with the SEC.
So Greg Sankey always does this. He downplays changes. Greg Sankey and the SEC are so powerful that they don't need to publicly negotiate through the media.
Right.
He's going to make decisions, and the conference will make decisions that they feel is best. And then they're going to tell us what decision they came to. So I don't totally believe him in his words and what he's saying publicly, because often what he says publicly and what he's actually doing behind the scenes aren't the same thing. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just he doesn't need to use the media to negotiate. However, I do think that this is kind of uncharted territory for Greg Sankey.
I think he does need it, because isn't he a little bit more of a villain right now? Like, he almost feels like Sankey's untouchable.
Depends on who you ask.
Well, and that's my point. And maybe he's feeding that side of his of his leadership.
Does he care about the way he's perceived? I don't think he necessarily does.
I agree with you there. I don't. But as far as the people that are ready and willing to attack him, he needs this side of it to kind of soften the blow, for sure.
When Texas and Oklahoma came to the SEC, we learned they were coming to the SEC when it was reported that it was done. Yeah. He didn't need to negotiate publicly for leverage or to get a dollar amount of an exit fee down. Like the way Clemson and Florida State have not so secretly tried to already plan their long-term exit from the ACC, and the way that the Big Ten publicly courted teams before they were the entity that they are now with the TV dollars that they had now. Like Greg said, he doesn't need to do that. That's my point.
I agree.
That being said, the uncharted territory we are entering is that the wants and desires and needs of Greg Sankey differ from his coaches and his athletic directors as it pertains to his largest sport, and that is, of course, football. Greg Sankey is a proponent of a 16-team playoff if this expands. A 16-team playoff, mind you, that was originally an idea hatched by the Big Ten. The Big Ten has now since moved on from 16 because they have taken the toothpaste out of the tube and looked at how much money they could all make and how many playoff spots they could all get with 24. And now, once you expand it, it's harder to shrink it back down.
Yes.
What's interesting is Greg Sankey, I think, and Rich Clark in the SEC, I think are going to use this week to try to persuade their athletic directors and coaches back down to what they want, which is 12 or 16. The reason I say that is because Brett McMurphy at On3 this morning has a straw poll of all 16 SEC athletic directors.
Let's go.
14 of them have given their preference for a playoff, and 2 of them declined to answer.
Can I guess the 2 declined to answer?
Well, I have no idea because it doesn't say.
Oh, okay. I thought we actually had names to it. Okay.
We do not.
Who would?
Well, we can already tell you what I think Tennessee wants. Tennessee's been open about wanting 24. So I don't think it's Tennessee declining to answer. And and I say this positively, I say this as a sign of respect. When has Danny White declined to give his opinion on something?
Never.
I mean, Danny White has been one of the leaders in college sports at making changes, and I love that about Danny White and Donnie Plowman in Tennessee. They've not been afraid in any of this. A lot of people have fear in college sports right now. I don't get the sense that Tennessee is afraid.
Right.
I get the sense that they're a bit more proactive. 8 SEC athletic directors are in favor of a 24-team playoff out of the 14 who gave an answer. 1 vote was given for a 20-team playoff. 4 votes were for a 16-team playoff. And there was 1 vote to keep things the way they are at a 12-team college football playoff.
All right, then.
So it's going to make for interesting discussions this week at the Hilton in Sandestin.
I wonder what these coaches still wanted 24 if it was just still if what they wanted 24 if they didn't have to play the 9th SEC game.
No.
Exactly.
That's why they want 24.
Yeah.
Brett Murphy writes this morning at On3, says, one reason the SEC ADs want more than 16 teams is that this fall the SEC begins a 9-game league schedule. There is concern how that additional conference game might negatively impact the league's chances at getting teams in the playoff with multiple losses. The earliest the playoff can expand is 2027. Yep. The SEC and Big Ten have the exclusive authority to determine any playoff expansion, and their inability to agree on a new format has, quote, frustrated several college football stakeholders. If they cannot agree to a new format by December 1st, then the playoff remains at 12 teams in 2027. Greg Sankey and Tony Bettini both have been very open to the fact that Plan B is status quo. Tony Petitti said that last week at Big Ten meetings at a very nice resort in the West Coast on, I think, Los Angeles, outside L.A., that plan B is stay with what we've got.
And see, I guess here's the thing, though, too, I think that becomes bothersome in these coaches wanting 24 teams in it. I agree with them as far as the security that it gives you to say, hey, we can hang a banner because we made the college football playoffs. The Vols did it, got knocked out in the first round. And then we're clamoring for more. I get that, right? Like, every coach is going to want that because I'm sure they can write in bonuses to their contracts as to making it to the postseason. But as far as the SEC coaches pushing this as strong as they are right now, I just want to say, from a competitor side of things, from a leader of young men, from a facilitator of one of the most powerful industries in almost any state, especially in the Southeastern Conference, right? College football coaches hold a lot of power, notoriety, and just presence with who they are. I'll say this. I get the security side of it, but I still think it's weak. If you are good at your job, trust yourself on your job. And I know there's a lot of outside factors that play into your failure. Period. I get it. But this is where I've said as of late, I don't think the differences between the SEC and the Big Ten is players. I genuinely don't. I know Michigan cooking. Ohio State has always been Ohio State. But we've always had ours as well as far as the SEC conference go. I look at this and I say again, I think the coaching style that the Big Ten has is just better than what the SEC's provided so far. That, to me, is why I can understand the security, but it's weak to me to say we need 24 to help us keep our jobs. No, do better at your job. Develop. Find the best coaches for your jobs. You might have a defensive line coach that's not good. Fire him. Go get another one. Instead of saying, we need a higher rated player. Not if your coach is as bad as you say he is, or your scheme as a head coach sucks. Like, that's where I'm at. I'm not calling them. Yeah, I am. It's weak is what I would say.
Josh Pates talked about it on his show that the Big Ten has exposed lazy hiring that is coming back to bite SEC programs now that have been cycling through a lot of the same assistants year over year, wearing different polos and quarter zips without maybe ever asking, are these guys actually qualified to be coaching some of these position groups and entire sides of the football in the SEC?
I mean, look at the hires that LSU has made. Like, it's to create coolness, to go get recruiters. And
pretty much everyone not named Blake Baker.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's
Blake Baker's a rock star.
Like, because we were, as a conference, allowed to get the best athletes because regionally where we are for the most part. And we made it popular to make the SEC a national brand. Mm-hmm. Where Cali kids are coming down. Jersey kids are coming down. And now it's kind of spread out because of the money component of it. I think it's weak by coaches that want it to be that way just because they want a little bit of job security when you really look at what sports is on.
Sure.
Sports is competition. If you lose, you just lose. Get better.
615-737-1045 is our number as Hour 3 continues here this morning. Coming up, shifting gears back to the Titans. Where does Cam Ward have responsibility to make the Titans better in 2026? What are these specific areas of improvement you want to see from Cam from year 1 to year 2? We'll talk about that coming up next. Hour 3 on Ramon and Will this morning. 615-737-1045 is our number. 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Cam Ward spoke to the media last week for an open OTA practice at the Vanderbilt Health Football Center. Talked about one of the changes he wants to make moving forward from year 1 to year 2. Part of the motivation of slimming down, some of the other adjustments that Brian Daboll wants him to make. Talking about being slower in the pocket. I thought was phrased in an interesting way. This is Cam Ward speaking to the media last week.
Just being slower in the pocket, not getting to the top of my drop as fast before the receiver even makes his decision, and just continue to feel the tackles set, not putting them in bad situations, then just continue to lead the football team.
Talking about adjustment he wanted to make moving forward into this season. Cam was also asked by Ben Arthur of Fox Sports about a comment Amani Hooker made earlier in the week, or earlier then, at that day, actually. Is the game slowing down? Cam says not necessarily.
I wouldn't think it's slowing down. I just think we're running faster plays to where I can control a lot of it. And then I get to see angles of guys where they're going. I just anticipate the throw.
What does that look like, Ramon, from year 1 to year 2? How different is this offense going to be? And what will be asked of Cam Ward differently in year 2 versus year 1?
I feel like Callahan poured into the idea of let Cam be Cam. I think Cam also had influence on him being that type of player, I think, from day one. We do this show daily, and a lot of this fan base was like, let Cam cook. Let Cam do his thing. Like, Cam's better outside of the pocket. And I think that is a huge part of his game as well, though, too. But there's ways that you can do that. Like, you might have somebody that loves drag racing, right? Well, take them to a track. They can still go fast, right? If somebody likes riding four-wheelers off-road and they want to jump hills, well, take them to an off-road track. They can do those types of things there. My point of it is this: I don't think Daboll's going to slow Cam down or make Cam less eccentric and, put him in a position where you dull his play. No, just put him in an offense that allows him to have excitement already in it. You heard Cam just say a second ago, like, the offense isn't slowed down. I just got quicker options than where I can go make plays with. That is the case. Put him in a place inside of this offense that allows him to do his thing. And if the pocket does break down, how smart are you going to be? His first answer that he gave with the audio that we just played here a second ago was, I'm just standing and feeling the tackle. All that means to me is this: Cam, you know when the pocket is collapsing, get rid of the ball. Throw it away. Live to fight another down. Those are the steps that he has to play right there. Those are steps that he has to make right there in order to be an efficient player in this league. And again, it comes down to this offense. Daboll saw something in Cam with how he's run this offense before. And now that Cam's in it, the way I saw it this past Thursday, I don't want to call it a perfect matchup because execution has to be a part of it, and people game plan against you in the NFL.
And it's May.
You
got a long way to go.
No tackling, no sacks,
right.
No real pressure, no hits to the head, none of that type of stuff. But if you can set this offense up in a way that Cam knows where to go, and that's all you're asking. Whether it's fast, whether Cam has the ability to go outside of the pocket and knowing when to, you have a better chance of being effective offensively. Now, again, the point of I'm making is this: be effective offense. I don't care if that's a quick little swing route because the wide receiver's gotten off the line of scrimmage and nothing's over to the right, so I'm going to just check down to the left over here. There are those types of options in this offense. I'm going to continually tell y'all to go educate yourselves about that Giants offense last year. This is, in my personal opinion, I think a template of what Cam has to expect moving forward, +4, because I think he's a better player than Jackson Dart.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do think it's interesting how Cam, in the same press conference last week, spoke about being a bit slower in his drop, but also the plays being run faster.
They are.
Because he said both those things.
They are.
So how does that work, Ramon, in that plays are being run more quickly? What does he mean by that when he also, in the same answers, talks about being slower to the back of his drop and also not rushing?
because you're just giving it. That in itself is just telling he's letting the play develop. He can be slower in his drop. 1, 2, 3, set, pat the ball, but the receivers are already across the field. I went back and looked at some of the Malik Neighbors routes that he was running. He would be lined up outside and have a drag all the way around where Wandale was down the middle of the seam, going down the hash. Well, here's the thing. I saw Daniel Jones drop back slow. By the time he got into his point, look left, there was Malik Neighbors with a long drag route for about 12 yards down the field, where you have guys who are looking at him being bracketed in between zone right there, and next thing you know, he's breaking in between two defenders. And there's your pass right there. Like, again, everybody else is moving fast around Cam, but because of the setup of the play action side of this thing, the RPO component, and just how many options, those guys got to get to their spots. Again, a lot of these offenses, I don't want to necessarily call them timing, but you better be on the same page quick, and everybody move differently than others as well.
I mean, every passing offense is a timing offense in some capacity.
So they got to move fast, and the ball's got to come out. That's Cam's point, and I think that's the point of this offense as well, too. Get the ball out and let your skill players make plays for you.
Where do you want to see Cam make specific improvements? What are reasonable amounts of progress for him from year 1 to year 2?
Be okay with the game plan. If a team is up on you, you're not getting completions, punt. Trust the defense. I personally have been thinking this defense is built up with so many veterans and playmakers on it in general that you're going to be allowed to just play field positioning. You got a defensive head coach. They're usually attacking but conservative at the same time. They're going to trust their defenses more times than not when it comes down to it. And again, Cam's just going into his second year. Like, that's the first part of it for me. Trust the game plan. If you have to punt it, punt it. Again, as long as this team isn't getting blown out of the water, which, again, with the way this defense should play, it should be attacking, especially if the secondary holds up.
Sure.
They're going to get after the quarterback and create pressure. It's a matter of you trusting them, too. If the ball has to be thrown away or go to a check down that only gets you 4 yards instead of the 6 you need, play the punting game. You went out and got good bodies this offseason as well to play that field positioning. Tommy Townsend being a part of it is huge for him. Directional kicking matters a lot, and that's where you have to play this game. If you feel like your floor has been raised as a team, play that. I'm not saying being overly conservative. I'm saying don't be dumb. You don't have to play hero 99% of the time out there. Sometimes your teammates have to also do their job. That's the first part I would start with him.
What I like about the Brian Daboll offense is, to me, how much it moves the quarterback around to throw from different positions in the pocket and just in the backfield in general. That, to me, is where Cam Ward feels like a really good fit for a Brian Daboll offense. To be fair to Brian Daboll as well, though, he has catered his offenses to different types of quarterbacks.
Facts.
And he's gone from statues and Tom Brady to runners in Josh Allen and Jackson Dart.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Davis came on the show and told us that. Like, it's not necessarily just one specific system that Brian Daboll has fit to all of his quarterbacks. Like, the beauty of Daboll is how well he's adapted to different talents and different skill levels and different skill sets. And Cam was asked about that last week, too, and was asked, how much have you guys really looked at? It was TD who asked it. Teron Davenport asked, like, how much have you looked at what Josh Allen did, what Jackson Dart did? And Cam's like, every day.
Of course.
We talk about that. We talk about what's worked for them. To me, I think a really good step for Cam, looking at specific improvements. Can you be sacked 30 times or less? Can you be sacked 30 times or less?
Mm-hmm.
Last season, Cam Ward was sacked 55 times. That was tied with Geno Smith for the most in football, according to NFL Pro and Next Gen stats.
I'll bring this up, too. It was over 410 yards. That's also about 5 touchdowns when you look at starting at the 35.
Like, to me, I'm going to go through another couple things I want Cam to improve in. Like, a lot of those things get better if you just get sacked less and put yourself in less 3rd and 16s and 3rd and 18s or 2nd and 14. Middle of the road last year in the NFL, the 16th most sacked quarterback was Tua at 30 times. And that was NFL league average. We've spoken for years. The goal for the Titans offensive line, just get back to average first. Then we could talk about moving forward and becoming a top 10 unit and being a better group. 30 is a high expectation. I would settle for just 35 sacks or less for Cam to take next year, because there will be some with the way that this offensive line's been built this season that just aren't Cam's fault. But we mentioned it in the second hour of the show. Cam had the 5th longest time to throw number last year in the league. He took the 5th longest to throw from snap to throw in the NFL. He was sacked 55 times. The quarterback that had the longest time to throw in the NFL was Caleb Williams. He was sacked 24 times last year because he learned to throw the ball away and he learned to run. Mm-hmm. He learned to still just give his wide receivers a chance and trust them to go make a play because his group of weapons was better. His offensive line was also better because they made significant upgrades to that line. They made multiple trades to it. Titans haven't done that. So I'd say 24 is a little bit of an unrealistic expectation in terms of how many times Cam is hit. But I want to see Cam be better on intermediate throws and deep balls. Give your guys more of a chance. Well, the way you do that is be more unpredictable in the spots that you can hunt downfield. You can complete more 20, 30-yard passes to Carnell Tate on 3rd and 5 or on 2nd and 3 than you can on 2nd and 14 or 3rd and 16. And the Titans ran way too many 3rd and longs and 2nd and longs last year to where you have cut down so much of the playbook. Step one for this offense getting better and this quarterback getting better is just don't get sacked as much. And a lot of that, Ramon, is going to be on Cam in addition to the offensive line and the wide receivers and the other guys around him.
No doubt about it. And here's the thing, though, too. The offense has to work for him in his favor. I'm looking back like right now just doing a live study on the Denver Broncos game last year. Cam's first sack that he gave up, he ran vertical backwards. Okay, like
running out of the back of the pocket.
Running out the back of the pocket, going in the opposite direction. Like, you're not going to outrun these defensive linemen as much as you did in college, especially within your box in and not in open space like that. Like, okay, Dan Moore gets beat for one. All right, that's cool. But 6 sacks in one game, like, it happens. It does. But starting off the season like that is highly questionable for the quarterback and the offensive line. And again, I will say this again. I know it was loud in Denver. You were there. I know it was loud and raucous there, okay? But here's the other part. It makes you question everything else after that the following week. How good am I? And that's Cam. That's also his offensive line. How good is the play caller? That's why I do think when Cam references that this offense is in a position where he's got quick answers and he's slow to go in his drop backs, that's because he's allowing the answers to show themselves before he actually got to make a decision. And I don't know if this team had this in the last couple of years when it come down to the quarterbacks that have been here for this team. That's where I personally view Dable. And his experience on task. I said somebody this. I was talking to somebody this weekend about this. Like, when you look at the position that Dable's in, the worst thing that you want for him, if you're a Titans fan, is for him to crush it this year, because he's gone.
I would live with that problem.
I know you would.
It's not the worst thing.
I know you would, and I think most will, because that means good success.
Yeah, right.
But legitimately looking at it, and for his sake too, as a coach moving forward, are you ready to be the 5-star general already? I guess like Robert Sala's done. Are you better off as a captain or a lieutenant to build this thing up and have a long, drawn-out career with Cam Ward?
Sure.
Same success, potentially push yourselves in a deep in the playoff run and hopefully Super Bowl at some point in time? Or do you want to go be the head coach again and manage all of the politics of, hey, who's going to cut the grass and all those type of decisions, going to speak in front of people? He don't have to do that right now. Now he can focus on football. And that's why I'm thinking this relationship would be beneficial for both parties.
Last season, between 10 and 19 yards, according to Next Gen Stats, Cam Ward had the worst completion percentage in football among starting quarterbacks. 40.2% completion between 10 and 19 yards. His completion percentage over expected was minus 13.1%. He was also pressured 35% of the time when he was trying to throw between 10 to 19 yards. In terms of quarterback rating on deep passes, Cam Ward had the 8th worst QB rating in the league at 79.9. Not all of that's his fault. Some of that's the quick pressure that he saw. Some of that was a group of receivers that was injured, didn't have a wide receiver one, and couldn't separate as much downfield against press coverage and against man coverage. Yeah. Your receivers look a little better now. You feel good about the weapons and the guys you're throwing to. You have more sure-handed targets. If footballs are still hitting the turf this year, And if this wide receiver group is healthy, I think we can rule out receiver as being a big reason why. It's on the amount of hits Cam Ward is taking. Some of that's up front. Some of that's on the guy throwing the football. Mm-hmm. But Cam cannot take as many hits this upcoming season as he took last year. I like, at least to start with, that I believe this offense will move him around more because Brian Daboll quarterbacks are known as mobile quarterbacks, as runners, as guys who, against man coverage, will find a spot and take it in the run game. That's the specific improvement I want to see from Cam this season. Because I think once you start doing that, once you start getting hit less, then all of a sudden you see those numbers come up on the intermediate throws and the downfield throws because your offense is more unpredictable.
I agree. And just also, too, if it does break down, pocket presence. Like 11 fumbles won't cut it. You know, like that will absolutely not cut it at all. Know the position of the ball or where you at and feel that pressure. Instinct got to go up a little bit more, too, in the pocket if that's the case.
And that's another issue that, again, you protect yourself better.
Yeah.
Then, you're going to be able to not fumble the football as much.
As much as we're going to have a conversation about the offensive line, and especially the right guard, right side in general, like that is where the quarterback can help those guys.
The quarterback in the system, for sure.
Yep.
Should help an offensive line that on paper is the weak link of the offense still be better than it was last year.
Because they know what their issues are. They have to know what their issues are.
You know what your limitations are.
You absolutely
100%.
know. You know it.
100%.
Yep.
615-737-1045, open for your feedback. Where do you want to see improvement from year 1 to year 2 for Cam Ward? Coming up as well, an incredible quote coming out of a 4-game sweep for the New York Knicks over the Cleveland Cavaliers. A star player was in his feelings last night, and you'll hear it coming up next. Wrapping up hour number 3 on this Tuesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. We'll continue to go around the AFC South coming up as James Boyd of The Athletic joins us here in a half hour. Talk Indianapolis Colts with him. Get the word out of Indy. One of the most interesting teams in the league that we'll talk about. That, of course, the Titans will see twice in 2026. Do we want to go to this comment in the F&M Big Chat, Ramon, on Cam, or do we want to move on?
I think it's worth it. Let's do it, man.
Let's do
We're very opinionated when it comes to our listeners, man. Appreciate all the comments, too.
Our friend Vanny Chris chimes in.
What up, Chris?
And says, here we are again making excuses for Cam that you are unwilling to grant to Levis. The difference was Levis was playing injured and Cam was not. I responded, for the sake of conversation, to the F&M Big Chat and said, we were still definitely giving Levis time to improve on all this after his first year.
Yeah.
Because this is still the end of Cam's first year. Said, plus, again, Cam is a better prospect than Levis. Always has been, always will be. Cam deserves more time, considering he was the number 1 overall pick. Will Levis was a second-round pick. Chris' response says, Cam's receivers and O-line were bad is the reason he was bad. Did you see the O-line and receivers Levis had? All right. Here's where we got off track. Chris, where did we ever say that?
No.
Where did we ever say Cam's receivers and O-line were bad is the reason he was bad? That is not at all what we said.
Mm-mm.
I believe what we said, Ramon, was that Cam took a long time to get rid of the ball last year. Some of that was getting beat quickly up front.
Yep.
Some of that was receivers who couldn't get separation. A lot of it was Cam's got to give his guys more of a chance on man coverage, on press coverage. There were too many footballs that hit the ground last year where Cam did not give his receivers enough of a chance or held onto the ball too long or rushed some throws that were fastballs where you'd had to take a little bit of the heat off of it.
Or overthrows.
A lot of overthrows last season. Cam was far from perfect last season. Will Levis was far from perfect in year 1. I'd like to think we're giving Cam ample time to improve. The same way going from year 1 to year 2, there was a lot of belief around Will Levis in this town.
Yes, it was.
And there's a lot of belief around Cam Ward. 100%. We were spraying mayo fragrance everywhere.
With lemon essence.
Going into year 2 for Will Levis.
Yeah.
So don't come at me with we didn't give Levis the same amount of grace. No, we were all on the Will Levis hype train until in the first 2 weeks of the season, he said, here, defense, have the football. And lost them 2 games, and it was all downhill from there.
I mean, like Chris, I want to call you Chris right now. If you could call in and just give us your stance.
We don't have time in this segment.
I know. We'll get them at the top of the next hour. Call in and give us your stance on Levis, because here's the thing. I do think Will Levis will go somewhere else and have a career. I think it's beneficial for Will Levis to not be in Nashville, Tennessee as a Tennessee Titan. He can live here all he wants to, but this stigma around here, the public perception of what he is from this fan base and what he is as a quarterback is just not going to fly here. I'm not anti-Will Levis at all. I think he's got an immense amount of talent and he can play ball, but you cannot get away from how bad that game was. That his time as a true starter was. He never found, again, and this is my point, and I'm hoping moving forward for Cam too, Will Levis never found that Atlanta Falcons game again. He never got close to it. He never saw any signs of it. The closest he got to it was probably Pittsburgh when he was up there. But even still, those weren't conventional throws.
They didn't win that game either.
Throwing up like in the air, landing on his back, and that's probably protection as well. My point is this. Are you saying this as just a conversation in the YouTube chat, or do you truly believe that Will Levis is a better quarterback than what Cam Ward is? Because to Will's point, and you made it, Cam was the number 1 overall pick based off his potential. Levis went early in the second round, true enough, and you traded up to go get him. But we saw what that looked like. And here's the other brutal part, though, to you, for anybody that's saying, well, Cam is getting more grace than Will. Cam's a first-round draft pick.
He's the number 1 overall pick. More than just first-round draft pick.
It's just the way it rolls in the NFL, and heck, I feel almost for any league for that matter. First-rounders get way more grace because the franchise needs for them to be correct.
That's right.
You just do. Chris, I would love you, my brother, to call up here and stand on the podium for Will Levis and how you feel this way, because I don't think this conversation at all is any way fair. It's not fair to Will Levis for you to say, hey, but Cam. It's not even fair. It's not the same with what both of them did.
Yeah. Johnny is in White House, wants to chime in on the Titans. What's up, Johnny?
What's up, Johnny?
Good morning, guys. Hey, I just got back from Gatlinburg over the weekend. It was my birthday. I had a great birthday. But listen to this. I don't get this thing. You guys have hit the nail on the head all morning about this Cam Ward thing. He's first overall pick. There's way more stock. There's way more value. There's way more upside to this. So you're going to give a little bit more, if you want to use the word grace or time. That's what you got to do. When you pretty much flip this franchise upside down with coaching, with GMs, all this stuff, you're going to have to give people time. And that's just, like you said, it's just the way it is. Moan, real quick, bro, I was finally able to get into Gus's this weekend.
Yes, sir. How was it for you?
I found the Lord.
You're talking about the deli, right? Deli or the chicken?
Yes. World famous. But you guys, I love y'all. I know it's raining this morning. I love y'all, man. I hope y'all have a great week. I love calling in, man. As always, go Vols and stay positive, guys.
Absolutely, Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate the call.
Appreciate that. Way to go. Gus is good time, baby.
Smoked turkey and Swiss with mayo on dark bread, double steam.
With the old school bench seats, I like a Reuben.
Okay.
Love a Reuben over there.
Can accept that.
Yes, on the brown bread. Was it pumpernickel or
so
rye
much.
bread?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Pumpernickel.
Love a great Reuben out of
It's the best way to eat a sandwich is on pumpernickel. Love dark bread.
Once you go, never mind.
Johnny's always good, though.
Johnny
fair.
was good. This conversation, though, moving forward for Levis, it ain't fair, y'all. It just ain't.
Chris says, I would call in, but just pulled up at work. I don't think either one is a legit quarterback. Bad quarterback play is bad quarterback play, period. Well, that's just where we fundamentally disagree.
Here's what I would tell you. Cam's going to get way more grace to prove that he's right than Will Levis did.
And he should.
A second rounder, respectfully, you either need it now like Tyler Shuck has done for New Orleans or Jalen Hurts did for – there's proof that second rounders can make it in this league. But they got to go fast and in a hurry. Cam's got way more time because, as Johnny said, and we've talked about, the investment, Will. The investment allows this. The league allows this. NFL.com allows Cam to get more grace.
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up, an athlete said something completely ridiculous over the weekend that you'll hear coming up next. Plus, Tennessee learns its NCAA tournament draw, and for the first time in 2 decades, Vanderbilt does not in the NCAA baseball tournament. We'll talk about all that coming up next.
9:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports, the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. New York Knicks are Eastern Conference champions and headed to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. The Knicks won their 11th straight game in the playoffs, completing the 4-0 series sweep last night over the Cleveland Cavaliers, winning 130-93. Now the Knicks will await the Western Conference winner of the Spurs and Thunder. Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City. Series tied up at 2-2. Tip-off is at 7:30. In the NHL Conference Finals, the Hurricanes won their second straight in overtime over the Canadiens 3-2 as they take a 2-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Tonight, the Western Conference Finals, Game 4, the Golden Knights looking to complete the 4-0 sweep over the Avalanche, who could be without top four Nathan McKinnon due to a knee injury. Puck drop tonight in Vegas is at 8 o'clock. Involved Baseball is headed to Chapel Hill, North Carolina in their 16th appearance in the NCAA tournament. The Vols in the Chapel Hill Regional will see North Carolina, East Carolina, and VCU, with their first game being this Friday against East Carolina at 11 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt misses out on the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2005. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the fourth and final hour on your Tuesday that probably feels a lot like a Monday. Here on Ramon and Will, hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend as the summer begins. And coming up in just about 15 minutes, we'll be joined by James Boyd of The Athletic. Going to talk a little Indianapolis Colts this morning. We're going to get more writers covering other NFL teams, especially AFC South teams, on the show moving forward. Want to know more about the division, more about the teams that obviously we see twice a year, and whether you are listening as a Colts fan because you like Peyton Manning, or you hate listen as a Titans fan that's preying on the downfall of every detail of the Indianapolis Colts. We hope you just listen one way or another.
Either way, you can find yourself into being Zach Bunch this morning. How about that? Shout out to our man Zach.
That's absolutely
a resident
right.
Colts fan, but tunes in every day to hear us talk about the Titans and Vols.
That's
baby.
right. Knicks finish off the Cavs yesterday in Cleveland. NBA playoffs, the kind of thing that gets people like Kylie Jenner and Spike Lee to travel to Ohio.
Love it.
What a world we live in. Was not a close game. I mean, the Cavs couldn't even get the ball across half court and get into a set until they turned the ball over. It felt like every second of this game, the Knicks were just taking the ball, sprinting down. The Cavs were jogging back. The Knicks were sprinting down. And then somebody was dunking on James Harden. Pretty much every time they went down. It was not close.
Yeah, absolutely embarrassed Cleveland. After game one, you felt like, okay, they came back. All right, this is going to be nice. That was Cleveland's opportunity, and they dropped the ball. Pun intended on that one. Then game two, they absolutely obliterated them in Madison Square Garden. And then when they won game three, there was absolutely no way they were getting out of the series without getting swept. You had, I love the NBA on ESPN crew with Charles Barkley and all of them. They got Charles to bring the brooms out last game. Like, that's how bad this series looked. And the way you look at the way Cleveland started this game against the Knicks, there were so many transition points, it was ridiculous. To your point, they were getting the ball and they were running transition as if this was high school versus college, or high school versus the NBA. There is no way in hell is an NBA team not supposed to be able to get back on defense. Not even a little bit. You got Jalen Brunson, Will, one pass, one dribble with a simple layup.
Over and over.
I
mean, it felt just like effort. By the run that they made at the beginning of the second quarter, once they got to do about 25 points, Cleveland, it just felt like gave up.
They gave up at that point. Like, they tucked their head and just rolled over. The final score was 130 to about 90? Either way, it was a lot to a little. 130 points in a Game 4 series knockout game.
130 to 93.
At home.
Yeah.
That is the worst part about it. And on top of that, your old coach is now the coach of the Knicks, too. But here's the thing. As much as we can pile on Cleveland, that just is what it is. They got to figure themselves out. I do think this sets up the LeBron James farewell tour.
Oh,
it is.
That's going to be insufferable.
It's going to be so
And I'm not a
crazy.
LeBron hater. I like LeBron.
I think he deserves it.
But he's going to be insufferable.
As great as he is,
last season.
from where he was labeled the Messiah all the way through, he's lived up to it. He's one of the few athletes that have lived up to the hype.
At worst, he's the second best player of all time.
Him, Bryce Harper?
Bryce Harper's not lived up to it the way LeBron has because he doesn't have a championship.
Doesn't have a championship. What's the one out with the Angels? Trout.
Mike Trout doesn't have a championship.
Doesn't have a championship.
I mean, heck, he's got like one postseason appearance.
Shohei didn't get this.
Shohei is living up to
Shohei, how old is Shohei,
100%.
by the way? I feel like he can either be 35 or he can either be 24. I don't know what Shohei age is.
Shohei is 31.
Shohei's lived up to it.
32 in a month.
So and look like Wemby's about to live up to it too.
Yeah, he definitely is.
But let me just say this though. New York's got a good squad. I was very skeptical about Karl Anthony Towns, aka Cat. I didn't know if Cat was going to do it. When they traded for him from Minnesota, I was just like, Cat in New York, is he going to be able to handle it? No, they absolutely has. It's been one of the best things they can have. Jalen Brunson taking a chance on himself too by going to New York and becoming the premier guard that he is right now as well. They got shooters. They play well enough defense, and they got a lot of guys that are playing roles for them too, coming off the bench. And it's a good squad. Again, I can test. I'll ask all of you. The NBA is in a good spot right now. Both international and American players both are making it happen, man. And the Knicks, the same way you need a big name in the Super Bowl, this is good for the NBA.
Well, James Harden's not in a good place. Yesterday, after being swept, he told the media that he thinks Cleveland is still the better team.
Reflecting on this series, how much better, if they're better, are the Knicks than you guys?
I mean, I can't even answer that question honestly. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was 4-0, but I don't think we had a chance as far as our best shot. You know, from a standpoint of the circumstances. You know, obviously they dominated us 4-0, but yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily answer that question. Just because genuinely I do feel like we are the better team, but you know, series wise, you know, it didn't show it. So it's a tough question to answer.
Dumb, stupid, idiotic, ridiculous. It's one thing if they beat you in 7. Oh, we felt like we're a better team. We just didn't fall our way, brother.
Bro,
there was never any doubt about who the better basketball team was in this series. And I, as someone who can't name you more than 3 players on the Cavs, can tell you that, bro, from watching this series. There is no question. One of the most loser things I've ever heard an athlete say after their season ended. Give me a break, man. Come on.
This wasn't a doink off the goal post.
No.
This wasn't a half-court shot that they made in the end. He was right. He was so right.
It's a disconnect from reality is what that is.
But he was so right until he said that last part. He was like, they dominated us. He gave everything.
Every part of your answer was to say that they were worlds better than you.
He was right.
They were so much better you couldn't even comprehend it is what really happened.
That's what he should have said in the end. We got a lot of work to do. The cold part about him is he's got an owner in Dan Gilbert, governor, and Dan Gilbert, that's an NBA term. He's got an owner in Dan Gilbert who's willing to pour in, though. He sent out a tweet yesterday to pretty much immediately say, we took a step ahead this spring. This is from him on his Twitter. We took a step ahead this spring, but we are nowhere near where we need to be. I can't thank the fans enough for the support this year. We will dig in all summer and do everything we possibly can to take the next step. We will grind until we get there. Boom. Leave it alone. James Harden, you saying that y'all were the better team don't get swept. They do not get swept 4-0. And the series was over after game 2, to be quite honest with you. Do it with me here, Will. Cancun on 3. 1, 2, 3. Cancun.
This would be like me sitting in here after the Tennessee-Ohio State loss in the playoff.
Yeah.
Be like, man, I just feel like Tennessee is still the better team.
We were 1 player away.
None of us said that. That's for dang sure. We were both there to see it live in person. Forget 4K. We saw it with our own eyes. We saw it with 20/20 vision. Tennessee was not the better team. Could you imagine?
No. No, I've never said we had a chance against Ohio State after the game.
After the game, no.
Never
Beforehand,
said
maybe,
that. I was big talking then.
That's what we
Okay,
do.
and you got humble quickly. We got humble. Never have I ever thought that after a shellacking that they took like that. Like, that is insane to me. But kudos to him. But here's what I would say. He's also got a player option of $42.3 million. Damn it, I say it too. I like Cleveland now.
Tennessee will open up its NCAA tournament in the Chapel Hill Regional on Friday against Robert Walsh's East Carolina Pirates.
Let's go. Get them.
Burt Hate Week. No, it's not. It's never Burt Hate Week. It's always Burt Love Week. 2 seed in the regional, UNC at 45-11-1 hosts the Chapel Hill Regional. ECU, the number 3 seed, VCU, the number 4 seed. Every team Tennessee will face led its conference in ERA. UNC, number 10 nationally with a 3.92. ECU leading the American as they beat top-seeded UTSA 1-0 in the American Conference title game. 4.3 ERA, led the conference with 549 strikeouts. Even VCU, the team with the best number of strikeouts, ERA, all those things. I think just ERA that they led in the A10 conference. Tough draw for Tennessee, to say the least.
Draw.
I was hoping for Southern Miss.
I know we're very savvy when it comes down to sports and understanding. But Vols fans, some be asking this question this week. Who the hell is ECU? Don't ask that question.
It's a good baseball program, that's for sure.
Real good baseball.
Not as good this year as they have been in years past, but still a good program.
Yeah, VCU in North Carolina as well. The Carolinas got some great baseball right now, too. Vols fans, they got a bad – it's not a bad draw. It's a challenging draw. Austin Price talked about it with us earlier. They got to be on point early. If you see them go down 2, it's probably going to be a wrap against these types of teams. Like I said, their best chance might be against ECU. But it's going to be a challenge, most definitely.
There's not a world, I think, where they lose one of the first 2 and still make it out. Yeah. They just their pathway to making it out of the regional is by winning each of their first 2 games.
It comes with perfection, is what you're telling me.
I mean, it comes with the type of weakness they have. They just don't have pitching depth.
Yeah.
They've not had guys step up in that bullpen and beyond the 3 starters like you need to have success this time of year. And Cam Appenzeller is going to have to be great to eat a lot of innings, too. He cannot be the Cam that finished a lot of the SEC season in order for them to advance. He's got to be the one who started the first 4 or 5 series at the conference play without giving up anything. Yeah. So, I mean, they can do it. They're talented enough on paper, but you don't win games on paper. And this just doesn't look like the team that's going to make a deep run. I don't think they're built to win in the postseason.
Speaking of deep runs and chaos, 2 of them real quick before we had to break. Mississippi State over Oklahoma in softball. Did not see that coming.
Huge shock.
6-0.
Yeah, right.
Insane. Oklahoma's the team.
Oh, yeah. There's no question.
Top 3
They're like
easy.
John Wood and UCLA was the team in basketball. That's as close as we've got to that right
and
now.
The Mississippi State ladies brought out the belts and absolutely let them take it. And also, we're going to have to look at it at some point in time. This Texas Tech versus Florida softball games where Jay Williams and his daughter went completely bananas. Do you hear me? They hit her 4 or 5 times in a game as well. He went off because she transferred from Florida to Texas Tech. And it is,
Goodness.
It ain't hit your algorithm
I didn't
yet.
see that.
It is must see. He went bananas against them.
Jeez. Okay.
And she did too. I think she hit the game-winning home run or knocked them in the lead or something like that. It's great messiness is what I'm telling you.
I was not tuned into that.
Yeah, good softball.
Coming up, James Boyd of The Athletic joins us. Writer covering the Indianapolis Colts as we continue to get previews from insiders around the division on the other headlines of the AFC South. We'll get the latest around Colts OTAs with James Boyd coming up next. Ramon and Will continues here at hour number 4 on this Tuesday morning in rainy Music City. Alongside the 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling, continuing to look around the AFC South as we are pleased to be joined this morning by James Boyd of The Athletic and the Fan Morning Show on 107.5 The Fan in Indianapolis, talking a little Colts this morning. James, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing good. Excited to get ready for OTAs.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I'm so fascinated by Indy, James, moving forward into this season at quarterback with the all-in moves that Chris Ballard made last year that with injuries came up short. And I want to start at quarterback. Just what is that position look like right now as the Colts go into OTAs? Daniel Jones continues to rehab, and Anthony Richardson is on his way out. What is quarterback looking like right now at Colts OTAs?
Well, let's start with Daniel Jones. I think that we'll get perhaps a significant update tomorrow when we have a chance to go out there to OTAs and just see exactly what he's doing. The last time we talked to Shane Steichen, he was dropping back to pass, which was around 5 months removed from Achilles surgery. So progress there. They continue to say they think that he'll be able to play in week 1. They won't say it definitively, but they're optimistic about it, which is an aggressive timeline. He'd be about 9 months removed from Achilles surgery. And to put that more into perspective, Jason Tatum was 10 months removed when he returned for the Boston Celtics. So, again, I think that's a very, very aggressive timeline. It's very optimistic, and I don't know if you should be optimistic in football, especially here in Indianapolis. They're missing the playoffs for the last 5 years. And then the rest of the quarterback room, Riley Leonard has been the QB2, the backup, pretty much all offseason. But the Anthony Richardson part is interesting because you mentioned, he's on his way out. But I would honestly say, is he? Because they haven't found a trade partner for him, and it sounds like they're laying the groundwork to at least make it possible that he's here in 2026. And if he is, then you have to ask yourself, which player gives us the best chance to win? The guy we've said more or less is our backup all offseason in Riley Leonard, or the guy who used to be our franchise dude who's now back into the fold, and I think talent-wise probably gives them a better chance than Riley.
James Boyd of The Athletic, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. James, when you look at the changes on the offensive line, no Michael Pittman Jr. as well at wide receiver, for you, aside from quarterback, what is the biggest question you have about this offense entering 2026?
Great question. I really want to know what it looks like for the receivers. And it sounds like they're not going to go out and really get that third established receiver, which I get it's a luxury to have. I mean, it was a luxury last year to have Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. But now that Pittman is gone for more so financial reasons than his production, which some of the fans, I guess, don't really understand around the league. It's like, why would you get rid of him? Because he cost $29 million. And when they got rid of him, they created $24 million in cap space. That's the main reason why they traded him. But beyond that, now you have to see if Alec Pierce, who's been this great deep threat, can continue to be a true number one receiver, and then Josh Downs, because he step up in a contract year. Tyler Warren helps a lot because he's kind of their focal point of their offense, considering all the stuff he can do, gadgety stuff, and even just going out there and winning matchups. But there is no other third receiver in there. It's kind of like a receiver by committee approach, and I don't know if that's always the best approach, in my opinion, when it comes to a talent that left the door versus having more talent kind of replace that. We'll see how creative Shane Steichen can be.
We're joined by James Boyd of The Athletic this morning, talking Colts. James, if we can, man, go back to the quarterbacks in a second. But how did Anthony Richardson get to this point through your lens? Immense amount of talent, athlete out of this world, and now he's kind of found himself with the quarterback in front of him that's kind of been on the same pathway that he could be years from now. What led to this point with AR?
Yeah, great question. I think it's layered, and the way I would sum it up here for a radio broadcast, because we can't be doing this all day, but is the 3 I's that I always reference. It's injuries, it's inaccuracy, it's immaturity. Those are the 3 things that he's kind of had to navigate since he's been here. He's been hurt. I mean, his rookie year was very promising the first 4 games that he played. Then he had the season-ending AC joint injury, had to have surgery on that, and he's kind of been injury-plagued since then. Couldn't make it through a full season. Then you go to the inaccuracy. The last year that he started, I believe that was 2024, he finished with a 47.7 completion percentage. That's the lowest in the league that year, lowest in franchise history. You cannot win a football game consistently if your quarterback is completing less than every other pass. That's just not feasible. And then there's the immaturity. And I think that the tap out had a lot to do with the optics of it. You know, you can't leave a game because you're tired as the quarterback. That just doesn't fly anywhere. And he just didn't really know that he had made a mistake in that moment. And then on top of that, he got benched 2 games in 2024 for what, at the time, Shane Steichen described as a lack of game preparation. And I know people can kind of take that and run with it. I'm here to say Anthony wasn't, showing up late and, not engaged or whatever. It's just maybe not understanding as the franchise guy, you got to be there early. You got to be there later than everybody else. He even said it himself, like, yeah, I didn't realize how much I had to sacrifice as the main dude. So he's learned a lot of those lessons the hard way, and ultimately it's led to this where he wants out. He wants to change the scenery, and I think that in some ways you could argue that it would benefit the Colts as well now that they've hitched their wagons to Daniel Jones and given him $50 million guaranteed.
Yeah, fascinating approach to it, man. That first-round quarterback comes with so much pressure. Also, moving forward, man, this guy has been the Titans killer for a few years now, Jonathan Taylor. He's going into the last year of his deal. And I have a feeling a deal would, or I would say, in my opinion, should get done. But where is he at right now as far as his future with the Colts? If they've moved on from Michael Pittman Jr., I don't see that being the case, even at his age in this league right now. But where is he at?
Well, I'm glad you bring up the money because JT is a company man, and he even says, like, for the shoe in his interviews sometimes, and I just kind of cringe. But the realest he ever got, you all, was a couple years ago when him and Jim Irsay were going at it to get that contract done. That was as real as he ever was with the media. Yeah. It wasn't a whole lot of smiling back then. So when he wants to get paid, he will let us know. But I think this time around, the reason why it's a little bit different is because Chris Ballard is going into the final year of his contract as a general manager. That hasn't happened during his tenure. So how much leeway or say does he have in extending players beyond what could be his regime? How much would ownership, Carly Ursay-Gordon, in her first full offseason as the owner taking over for her father, how much would she have maybe some hesitancy to give out these extensions to certain players? I think JT has earned another contract with the Colts or elsewhere, but I'm not so sure one gets done just because we don't know what the future holds for the regime. The only player I think that is really scheme-proof, GM-proof, or whatever is probably left guard Quentin Nelson, who's a future Hall of Famer. But even then, do you really want to pay a left guard if you're going to, strip this thing down after a year if it doesn't go well? So we will see what this year brings and how demanding these players are to get their money even before the season starts. But overall, man, I can see the Colts saying, hey, let's wait and see if running it back with Daniel Jones even works before we start giving out more money.
As I would just say, Achane, he put you guys under the gun right now with the deal that he got as far as numbers. Yeah.
Totally. James Boyd of The Athletic, co-host on 107.5 The Fan in Indianapolis, our guest. To that point then, James, with Chris Ballard on the expiring deal, with Daniel Jones on kind of a short-term solution still, with so many contracts up in the air, the pressure on this front office and this coach to kind of get things done, what will it take for the Colts and for Carly Ursay-Gordon to continue with the plan? What is kind of the bar to say, all right, let's keep moving forward with the status quo, or, hey, a full rebuild is needed? Because it feels like things are kind of in a last dance mode, potentially, if things don't go well in 2026.
Yeah, I think you hit it right there on the head. Now, if any Colts fans listen, they probably roll their eyes and say, Teflon Don is Chris Ballard because he's lived all these different lives and survived all these different things. But I remember asking Carly at the end of the season, will you extend him? And it sounded like a dumb question at the time, but the reason I was asking is because you all know it's very rare for a coach or general manager to get to the last year of their deal and enter a contract year. Teams just don't let that happen because they usually extend their guys, believe in them, or have some sort of vision for him. So he kind of feels like he's going into a season where he could be viewed as a lame duck general manager or a lame duck regime. And overall, I think the bare minimum is you have to make the playoffs. If you can't make the playoffs after not making it since 2020, it would help you if you win the division. Haven't done that in over a decade. Those two things, I think, are probably the minimum. But just get in. However it looks, get into the playoffs. If you cannot do that, I think everything's on the table, and there's probably, more likely than not, that changes need to be made because even beyond just Chris Ballard, who hasn't really delivered during his tenure, Shane Steichen, how many coaches can make it through the first 4 years of their tenure with the team and not get to the playoffs and keep their job? Now, I think that he would have a job very easily somewhere else because he's one of the better offensive minds in the league, so it's not like he's hurting for an opportunity, but that's where they're at right now. That's the pressure that's on all of them. Even Daniel Jones, yes, it's a 2-year deal. They committed to him kind of,
But if it doesn't work, I mean, who's to say if they get a new general manager in, they want this quarterback who always gets hurt, unfortunately, as their guy on that big of a contract.
James, defensively, with Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator, this was a Colts defense that was 31st in total passing defense in 2025. How have they addressed that moving into the next season under Lou Anarumo to try to make that defense better?
One of the emphasis that Chris Ballard had at the end of the year was to get younger and faster. So you saw them move on from Zaire Franklin, one of their gems that they kind of find diamond in the rough kind of player. Back in the day, I think he got drafted in the 7th round and ended up being a pretty good starter for him, but they moved on from him. Drafted C.J. Allen, the Georgia linebacker, who's supposed to be kind of a plug-and-play starter. They upgraded their secondary by adding A.J. Halsey out of LSU. And from a scheme standpoint with Lou Anarumo, it seems like they're trying to find guys who can really run and cover more, and they want to play more man-to-man. And I think you saw glimpses of how good that defense possibly could be when it comes to the secondary, maybe not the front seven, but the secondary. If Shavarius Ward is healthy, if Sauce Gardner is healthy, they can make life a little bit harder for you. But, yeah, they're not really trying to play as much zone as they did last year at times, and I think the personnel kind of reflects that even more this year. So we'll see how aggressive they can be. But also it comes down to the defensive line. As you all know, it's funny, we talk about all these different things, but if you can't block or you can't, if you can't get blocked, that changes a lot of things when it comes to how the games unfold. And I don't know if I trust that Colts pass rush either.
No doubt. We're joined by James Boyd of The Athletic this morning talking Colts. James, man, from a almost non-football side of things, what has Carly Gordon been and meant for the Colts? Do the players love it? Were the fans on it? Is it too much? Because she's visible. I admire what she's doing by showing that, hey, I'm putting in the work, but how much of an involvement and distraction or non-distraction is it with what she's done and gone about her way so far?
I'm glad you asked this question because I think when she took over as the principal owner, everything that she had been doing for years since I've been on the beat became more in the public eye. So it seemed like it was new, but she's been doing this for a long time. And to give her credit, you all, it is not what it looks like to some people where she's micromanaging. She's genuinely trying to learn. I remember being at the owners' meetings back in Phoenix a few weeks ago, or at this point probably over a month ago, and she's sitting there just making small talk, and we're talking about man and zone coverages. And we're talking about, different blitz packages and stuff like that. So she really wants to understand ball and understand football. And I think you can respect any owner that's that invested. It's not like she's going in there saying you have to run this play or we have to, change this scheme. It's let me understand it and be inquisitive so I know that I'm not just the owner of the team, but I'm someone whose heart is in it as well. So I can respect that. And, she's visible, but the players seem to enjoy it. But at the same time, would they tell me if they didn't? I wouldn't tell you if I didn't like my boss. But no, in all seriousness, they do enjoy her. And she's earned that. Like, she's been there every single day. And I do think she gets out of the way. And if you ask any of the players, I mean, she's giving practice squad guys, their kids, Christmas gifts and stuff like that. She cares, even from a non-football standpoint. And you can respect that from anybody.
No doubt. You mentioned the pass rush, and I kind of want to ask you about that one. So I asked you about that one, too. Where are they? DeForest Buckner's getting into like a year 10 or 11 himself. Grover Stewart's up there. I know they just signed Arden Key this offseason. He's a guy that's also got some age on him, too. And Leatu Latu also. What is that group? How will they get after the quarterback? We know what DeForest Buckner's made of. Personally played against a guy. He's a headache, but age conquers all, man, when it comes down to it. How much is still left in his tank between he and Grover and the rest of the group that they got surrounding him?
Well, let me just back up real quick and say, for any bosses listening, I do love you. I appreciate y'all the opportunities you're giving me.
Smart.
I'm just joking. When it comes to the pass rush, I would say I'm very skeptical because the only proven starting caliber, and that's even a loose term, defensive end that they have is Leatu Latu. He had 8.5 sacks last year. Crazily, he had 3 interceptions, which I wouldn't bank on that happening again in his career. But beyond that, Arden Key is kind of looked at as the guy who could possibly start opposite of him, and he hasn't been a true starter in this. But he's a good player, a good rotation player, but I don't know if I want to hand him the keys and say, you're my number 2. So they're missing Kwity Paye, who left to go to Vegas, and I think that they thought they could upgrade. And Chris Ballard told us on the record, hey, we tried to get Trey Henderson, and it just didn't work out. Lou Anarumo had coached him for so long, and then we had the weird stuff happen with the Ravens and Max Crosby, and then Trey Henderson ends up going to Baltimore and not Max Crosby. So maybe they swung and missed there, but it just didn't seem like they had a backup plan for that. So it seems like they're going to do the whole defensive end by committee approach, opposite of Leatu Latu. But I don't love that because anytime you do anything by committee in football, it seems like you don't have a dude to just do it, as the main guy. And I feel like that's a nice way of saying we don't have the other starting caliber dude. And then as far as the interior defensive line, DeForest Buckner, I am a little worried about. He's had some injury stuff pop up the last couple of years, had a high ankle sprain 2 years ago, and then this last year had a neck injury that ended up with him being on the injury reserve to end the year. And he's still working his way back to full strength. Should be good to go around training camp, but he also told us he has to change his technique with how he approaches, the trenches. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do you change your technique when you probably operate in the least controlled environment on the field? I mean, you're in piles all the time. Guys are pushing you around. Is your neck going to be something that lingers or something like that? So is he going to be an all-pro caliber player again? I don't know. So, yeah, I'm not feeling great about the defensive line.
He is James Boyd covering the Colts for The Athletic on the radio 107.5 The Fan up in Indy. Does great work covering Indianapolis as we continue to go around the AFC South. James, great to have you on, man. Would love to do it again soon. Appreciate the insight.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for letting me crack a few jokes, have a little fun, and hit me up anytime.
No doubt. We didn't even get a sauce question in, man. We'll wait till later, close to the season, man. See what its recovery
Sounds
is.
Good, man. I'll be around.
No doubt about it. Appreciate
it, James. Thanks so much.
All right, bye.
All right, there's James Boyd with us here this morning talking Indianapolis Colts. That's our goal. Build our Rolodex a little bit and expand and talk more around the AFC South. I think that's a really interesting team, Ramon, in Indy that has gone all in on the core that it has built and has given out a lot of big contracts and has make or break points on people from GM to head coach to quarterback again to running back to offensive line. It does feel like the last dance in 2026 for Indy. And James, I think, makes a good point. If they're not a playoff team, do they tear it down to the studs?
If you go back and look at last year, just the games, whenever Indy was rolling, Shane Steichen.
They were the hottest commodity in the league at one point.
But listen to you and also James say, like, it feels like the last dance, like it's all or nothing. Like when you see the passion that Shane Steichen was, how animated he was on the sideline, maybe he felt that too. And I'm probably projecting. I am just looking back at
life came at them fast.
But then he realized, like, oh, this is it with Daniel Jones. And he was all over the field with them last year, man. And I didn't think they were this close to shutting it down. I did not even a little bit. But listening to James speak from The Athletic, he did not seem as optimistic as I thought they should be with what they have coming back. And, of course, it's all weighed upon what happened with Daniel Jones and the Achilles. But guess what? Sauce Gardner's also hurt. DeForest Buckner's got an issue going on, too. And they got rid of, I know they'll find ways to supplement it, but Michael Pittman Jr. there's a lot of yards leaving.
A lot of big questions. A lot of big players hurt, too. Up there. So interesting. Good stuff from James Boyd. Appreciate him giving us some time here. 615-737-1045. Final call for phone calls as we hit headlines we missed so far. Vanderbilt. First time in 2 decades, not in the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about that coming up next. Wrapping up the show on Ramon and Will. Appreciate James Boyd and Austin Price stopping by this morning. Brett Bryan will be here for his weekly visit tomorrow as we will get back to more Titans discussion. OTA practice open on Friday. NCAA baseball tournament starting this week. Even if you aren't someone watching like a midweek game in April, or you don't really care to tune in for a weekend series, the NCAA baseball tournament is pure anarchy. It's great. It's so much fun. It's all day for like 5 straight days this upcoming weekend, but it will not be for Vanderbilt. Their season officially comes to an end. Their 19-year regional streak, which was the longest in college baseball, is now over. School record home runs this year. Couldn't make the NCAA tournament. 33-25 record for the Commodores this year. A 14-16 record in conference play. It won its first game against 13-seeded Kentucky before losing to 5th seed Florida in last Wednesday's second-round matchup. The injury to Austin Nye early in the season was a big deal. Different bullpen arms, just injuries everywhere. A ton of freshmen had to play this season for Vanderbilt. What I think Vandy fans would tell you, though, Ramon, is that, well, back in the day, that wasn't a problem because they used to have enough freshmen who were ready to come in and immediately contribute, that wouldn't have been fatal. It at least wouldn't have been the kind of injury pileup that makes you miss the NCAA tournament. I think the lesson is, again, that no one has the margin for error that they used to. And a lot of those West Coast guys that Tim Corbin was getting to come to Vanderbilt back in the day, a lot of them are staying on the West Coast now, including at UCLA, who was the far and away number 1 overall seed in this year's NCAA tournament. Those West Coast Big Ten schools are starting to invest in baseball again. And I'm curious what Vanderbilt baseball looks like moving forward. I believe they do have the number 1 recruiting class in the country for next season right now at the high school ranks. Just 1 year removed from being the number 1 overall seed and losing in the regional. But this is a weird time for Tim Corbin and Vanderbilt baseball.
It is. But I think they're fine. I feel like with his mindset, he's able to navigate this too. I'm looking at a comment now. It's on SI.com. He's got, quote from him, "We've been very consistent for a long period of time, and we'll always be measured against those years that we were at the top, and that's okay." He goes on to say, "There's nothing wrong with that. But the challenge for this program is getting back to that point." And that's the point that you've made right there. It's like, hey, those West Coast kids are staying. How are you going to build up and sustain a roster? Like, do you have, and this is to be quite honest with you, didn't make it this time. Do you have the patience of Vanderbilt fans and administration to get it right if you are going to build through the high school ranks?
I don't think so.
And that's where NIL, that's where, and they're doing well in NIL, but that's where portal has changed it. That's where getting the higher caliber players that you were able to get to come to Vanderbilt or almost any school now would pass on the league to come and play for you. Well, there are other teams that are paying like the league is.
Yeah.
Or not going to waste their time going through the minors when they can get paid now in college. And you're not the only one with a bag. The adjustment that Tim Corbin has to make, I think, is crucial for him, but also other teams that are trying to compete at this level right now. When he said, too, they're being measured off of what they did from 2014 to 19 to 2020. Like,
that's the standard that you set.
That's the standard.
I think it's even more difficult on Tim Corbin and Vanderbilt baseball with how good the other 3 major sports have been under the same model in college athletics. What does Clark Lee have that you don't have? What does Shea Ralph have that Tim Corbin doesn't have? The answer is nothing. Tim Corbin has every resource he needs to be successful, to compete, to not only make the NCAA tournament, but make it as one of the contenders and one of the favorites. I do think that anyone who wants him fired is absolutely out of their mind.
Yeah, you're silly for that.
I think you are still 1 year removed from being the number 1 overall seed in this tournament. I know that regional didn't go your way, but still, at the end of the day, it's 1 weekend, right? Like, and I know it's more than just 1 weekend. You'll come back at me and say, "Oh, well, but it's been since the last national championship in 2019 for Vanderbilt baseball." I think there is added fan pressure right now that's a bit unfair because of how well things went for men's basketball, women's basketball, and football. I'm fascinated to see what the counterpunch looks like this next season for Tim Corbin, because they will, if they're able to keep that roster intact, bring back a lot of players who got on-the-job training this year and time on task that weren't originally supposed to. So how much better are you in 2027 because you took some growing pains in 2026? What I would say is this for Vanderbilt fans who are frustrated by this. You are feeling the consequences of what traditional powers in other sports that you've stolen from are feeling. You're feeling what Alabama football has felt.
Facts.
You're feeling what Kentucky basketball is feeling. You have more seats at now a bigger table to pull up for your recruits that you were traditionally getting. And that's not just Tennessee. That's UCLA. That's USC. That's more programs that can now sit at the table and offer top dollar and offer the top resources for guys that you wanted and you were able to stockpile on your roster for a long time. Sports changed.
It does.
How are you going to adapt?
Got our resident Vandy fan that says we just can't keep them because MLB comes in and swipes them away with the huge signing bonuses. Not as that, but y'all have been.
That's the case for everybody.
That.
Yeah, that's been a problem for you.
I say specifically,
that's not mattered.
But you were still able to go and accumulate the bottom of Tier 1 players to come to Vanderbilt. Now the bottom of Tier 1 players are being given money at UCLA, at Texas, at A&M, at LSU, at Tennessee.
For sure.
That's where the pivot has to happen, in my opinion, for Vanderbilt baseball.
It's a very loud minority that wants to make a change there, but I still think that minority is misguided. Back at it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for your Wednesday. Quick morning. Glad to be back.
Oh, no doubt.
Glad to be back in studio with the people.
But remember, good people at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.